Hello, people. Everyone in Twitch, you guys should be able to hear us right now. Let us know how the levels are going. What's up, Ethan? What's up, Nessie? How do I sound? And then we'll go with E-Boy number 1. Okay, I sound good. Loco, that's you. You're next.
I'm not an E-Boy, but hi guys. How's my sound level? Do I sound good?
Loco's such an E-Boy, dude. I have to call him out.
Oh my god, I am not an E-Boy. In what way am I an E-Boy?
Okay, so I'm trying to find out like when we're starting the show. We're in the Facecheck chat, right? And I'm just stalling for 15 minutes because I know that I can't play another solo queue game and I'm gonna host at 9. So I'm trying to stall as much time as possible. Like there's a Reddit thread on me, so I was like reading that on stream and I was trying to fucking like joke around my chat. Then I'm wondering what the fuck is Loco doing right now? Like what could possibly be going on?
I'm helping Digon with the show. I'm helping him set the fuck up. What else do you think I'm doing?
So that's it.
So what I know you're doing is you're definitely, at least while you're helping Digon with the show, on Twitter liking hot pictures of hot e-girls and just fucking trying to slide in.
I'm not trying to slide in.
You're trying to fucking slide in. Loco's saying he's not trying to slide in.
I am not trying to slide in.
I was trying to figure out, hey, Loco, why haven't you sent me the key yet? I was Loco, where's the key?
Holy fuck.
It was like 3 minutes.
I told you to keep the thing. Daniel, shut the fuck up.
I've got Dom's fucking stream on my phone, and I hear him like stalling. I'm like, he's running out of shit. Like, Loco, I need.
Oh
this.
my fucking god. Oh my god. This is not fucking fair. You can fucking turn on your webcam. Oh, this is actually so fucking. You were having technical difficulties.
Dude, and why is
there helping you?
Why is this girl defending you? Why is she saying "let the man live"? Like, oh my god.
Yeah,
dude,
let the man live, Dom.
Let her get her one life.
I will not let you fucking live on this shit, dude. I'm sitting there. I'm reading Reddit threads. You know that it's fucking doomed. And I'm trying to stall so hard. I'm reading.
Yeah, you're reading Reddit threads about you being a 10/10 podcaster. I feel so fucking bad for you, Dom. Yeah. Oh my fucking god. You have to go through all that.
Yeah, honestly, Loco, if I was you, I wouldn't go in that thread. That's all. That's all. If I was you, I would avoid that one. Just for the time being.
It's okay. You know you're doing something right when Reddit hates you.
Yeah, no, true, actually. That's what I was saying. I tried to get my chat to give me some negativity. I'm like, can you just put, like, Dom, your fucking dog shit, or, like, some shit like that in my chat? Because too much positivity just makes you feel weird.
Okay, whatever. My God, I don't want to talk about women.
Yeah, no, I saw you're in your feels, dude. You're tweeting out some shit on like Saturday night. I was just chilling. I was trying to like go to sleep, and then he's like, dude, women are all the same. Like, I don't even remember what the fuck he said. He said some shit.
I did not say women are all the same. That is not.
You're like, these hoes ain't loyal. Like, I don't fucking know what it was. It was some bullshit. All right, that's all I know. Well, okay. It was some bullshit.
I was talking to someone recently, and it went well, and then it went badly, and then it went well. And they went badly. Mm-hmm. And then, so I did what I normally do, which is
tweet emo stuff.
No, talk to my exes.
Oh, okay, sure, makes sense.
That's a classic. It's a classic Yinsa move.
And then, I realized I thought things were going well, and then I wanted to make Valentine's plan, and I was talking to two, and both told me they were busy on Valentine's. I just realized
that's why they said they were both busy, because they knew you were talking to two. That's what happened.
No, I realized I was side bait for both. No, I was side bait for both, and they already had boyfriend. One's already engaged.
What the fuck?
Why is that their fault?
Yes, you're side bait. She's engaged.
They shouldn't be fucking talking to me. They should have. The engaged one's the one you know from last year.
Yep.
And and I was like, God damn, like holy fuck, it's just doomed. Dating in LA is fucking doomed.
Dating in LA is hard.
Everyone had weighing options, and I just wanna. It's okay. Let's go into the show. Enough feels for the day.
All right. So Loco is on the verge of tears. Let's start the show.
Yeah. Let's talk about visa issues and why Dom knows about visa issues. That was so funny last time.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. What are we doing first? Okay. We're ready. Don't cut that out, editor. Welcome to episode 3 of season 2 of Facecheck. Dom, Loco, Digon here to recap the biggest news from the LCS and from League of Legends esports all together. Sorry for my voice. I've been up for about, I think, 40 hours now because Twitch Rivals had the great idea to do the Europe show at 1 in the morning in LA. And so it's now 9 a.m. and I haven't slept since, I think, however many 30 or 40 hours ago. So doing this and then I'm sleeping
Twitch rival
forever.
for Facecheck forehead.
Yeah, maybe I can just get the three of us there if Dom will finally leave his man cave.
Fuck that, man. I'm staying here.
So we're gonna recap our matches. There's a couple of fire ass tweets that don't quite bury someone as much as Ruin got buried, but this person got buried. And then also some good sharing, right? Because Facecheck's part of the ecosystem of news that we share with others. So we're gonna kick things off with one of the biggest reports that came out, and it's a very cool behind the scenes look at the biggest move in North America over the offseason. And so that was the Vulcan trade. So the biggest thing that happened in North America was Vulcan traded from Dignitas to Cloud9, and how Johnson went from TSM Academy on over to Dignitas, and all of the minutia that went into that to get the trade done. The big thing came from Jacob Wolf. Jacob Wolf from ESPN tweeted out his article and that ESPN wrote, basically outlining the big trade. Cloud9 trading a chunk of their roster to EG. That was verbalized as a trade first, but then there wasn't really a partner to cover the support role, which was basically Vulcan, at the time, because Smoothie was taken. I think Biofrost was the other person that they were looking at, and Zazel was part of the EG package. So how did the whole process go? And it basically details that Jack said it was okay to trade with EG, but then when he didn't have anyone to get, Dignitas was playing a little bit of a hardball there with Jack saying, hey, look, well, we want maybe some of the players that you were trading with EG. Well, then maybe we want more money. And then eventually they landed on $1.5 million for Vulcan, as well as getting Johnson signed from TSM to Dignitas. And it was just a really cool inside look on how trades work and how one of the biggest, I guess, baddest negotiators in the LCS, Jack, had to kind of work around things, but eventually got the deal done. I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on the article and the trade overall.
The biggest thing that stood out for me was EG just getting fucked upside down during the whole trade situation, where Jack is like, yeah, here, have all our players. And then EG's like, sweet, like we actually get to start our franchise with pieces. And then Jack's like, nope, never mind. I might need the pieces to be able to get Vulcan. So EG's just sitting there. They can't make any deals. They don't even know if they have those players or not. And it goes into the detail about it in the article, but the EG players are getting introduced, or the old C9 players are getting introduced to EG staff without being fully signed on to the team. And there being a chance that Jack takes all those pieces back. Because from what it says in the article, Jack was willing to cut the deal last second and give all the players to Dignitas to make sure they can get Vulcan. So EG is just getting fucked upside down.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing that stood out for me was the amount of money that Johnson's buyout was, because I think it was like 250K is what they ended up saying. It like ended up being his value was 250K. And that's from a player straight out of solo queue. So I think that kind of, because before I was kind of like a hater of the 100 Thieves amateur scene type of like thing that they're doing, where they're picking up like a third team. Mm-hmm. But TSM did that last year, right? They had TSM Sword was on that team.
TSM Junior.
Yeah, and that's where Spica I think originally was. When they had Grig in Academy and KDN starting for the main team in like spring. So picking up that third team ended up being like super valuable. I mean, it's like a decent investment for these organizations to pick up these players if they're able to sell them off so high. I mean, obviously it's rare that you're going to get a Johnson, but it's almost worth it to fund a whole team if you just get one Johnson per year, or one player that ends up having a buyout and being LCS ready.
Yeah, so that already happens in Korea and China, where people have academies and they just raise players, and then they just need to hit with 1 out of 10, and then it'll fund the entire program for the year. And then if they're hitting with multiple, then they're just actually making money raising amateur players.
Yeah, just real quick.
No, and let me. I know in Korea they get the kids super young, so like the players won't be eligible until they're 17. But they'll sign them when they're 15. I know Phoenix, for example, was one of the players that was signed by CJ when he was when he was 15. He was signed by CJ, and he like lived in the gaming house and everything, and got to become friends with everyone there.
Dude, the StarCraft system was fucked. Like you would get not paid anything, and you would do chores around the house, and you would be grateful.
Linking the article there in Twitch chat, and we'll put a link to probably in the YouTube. description so that, ESPN and Jacob Wolf can get the appropriate coverage of the article itself. But I thought it was really cool to see the inside working of the trade, and we worked through a couple of it, right? At Golden Guardians, we signed Mickey from Team Liquid Academy at the time, and it was pretty accurate. Like, I think it's pretty accurate where, like, it's the Wild West. Someone might tell you, hey, look, we'll do this thing, and then all of a sudden you're just getting the D, and there's like really nothing you can do about it when you're a minnow. Like, when you're a small team, like, you just have to be at the mercy of the big teams, and you can imagine how that works. They make it sound like, hey, we're giving you a deal here, but then you're kind of like, well, what's actually happening? Why are you moving on from this player? Is there actually something wrong? And in this case, there wasn't anything wrong with those players per se, but the deal itself kind of was just, it's a verbal. Like, words kind of don't really hold up if nothing's signed. So I think that was a really cool thing that a lot of people might not be
hold
used
up
to.
Until a better deal comes along. That's what happens in esports. It will hold up, but long as there's not a better deal on the table. Once there's a better deal, words don't mean shit.
Yeah, I think that's just one thing that a lot of these owners need to take away from this is, like, when you have a verbal agreement, just don't put as much weight on it. Because I know a lot of teams have been fucked by this in the past where they come to like some sort of like agreement, or they think that there's a chance that they get a player and they bank on it too much. And like, I feel like until you have things in writing, just keep your options open, see who you can talk to within the bounds of like poaching and everything, and try to make like the best decisions for yourself. You have to be selfish.
Oh, did you guys also catch that they didn't ask, they didn't lower the Vulcan price and then get Johnson on their own? They knew the best way to get Johnson was have Jack get him from Andy. There's still that trifecta of Jack, Steve, and Andy. Yeah, where they just give each other better deals, and they'll just, there's a reach around there. And I thought Dignitas was really smart to not ask for Johnson straight from TSM, but be like, yo, Jack, include Johnson in the deal if you want Vulcan.
Yeah, that is actually a pretty good point. I think that a lot of people in the past like haven't been so privy to like the owner clicks and things that exist, but yeah, like player clicks exist, especially in Europe. It feels like
Perks runs everything.
Yeah, Perks like runs the fucking world when it comes to like who gets on what team.
I don't know about
that's
this.
what people were saying. I mean, there was like in-houses, but essentially the in-houses were kind of used to. Didn't he get fined for poaching or something?
No, he got. I don't think he ever got fined for poaching. They could never prove poaching.
Okay, I remember that there was like some talk
there
about
was
it.
like a slap on the wrist. It was about the cap stuff, right?
Yeah, I think so. That they were pretty much using like in-houses to just like be like, oh yeah, we're just playing together, but then like they would talk about it afterwards, like, hey dude, like maybe we could play together someday.
Wow, our duos went really well.
Yep.
Dom, did you ever do any of that stuff? Like I guess soft recruiting or anything like that? Like, what is the furthest you have gone legally?
Well, the thing is, a lot of the players I recruited weren't on teams, so I don't think I've ever actually had to like poach anyone because I never was getting anyone from another team. Yeah, because like all the players that I picked up, like Phoenix, Lorlo, Dardoch, like Quas to some degree, Bunny Fufu, they were all like from solo queue, or they're from like amateur teams that didn't have buyouts at the time, or like the buyouts were like 15K and there wasn't like any contract where they couldn't be approached, because it was like season 3, season 4. So I don't think I ever had to deal with any of that. I know some teams like reached out to me behind the scenes. I know like I don't know if there's a statute of limitations.
I don't want you to get you in trouble. I don't want to get you in trouble. Let's not do that then.
But I know some teams reached out to me when I was in LCS season 5 when I had problems with Piglet, because a lot of people knew behind the scenes that like me and Piglet weren't getting along, and at the time we both were like valuable players. So yeah, people were.
I can imagine that
trying to hit me up. Yeah.
Tomorrow, they're like Commissioner Greeley writing a fine to one of these OG teams. It obviously is a team that exists, because if it was a team that didn't exist, you would have told.
Yeah, true. I mean, there were some teams that tried to poach me that don't exist anymore, like Renegades, to some extent. But yeah, there's also teams that exist. But I mean, I think some of the teams that do exist have different management, so I don't think they would probably
get in trouble or whatever. Yeah,
get in trouble for it. But I just wouldn't want to say it.
Of course. All right. Well, anyway, make sure to check out that article. Link was in the chat. We'll link it one more time. Let me make sure that's the right link. Yep, there we go. So links in the chat, and also we'll have it up there. And again, as always, ESPN, anything Jacob Wolf writes is usually gold. So really cool peel behind the curtain on some of the happenings in the offseason. All right, so week 2 in the books. We're going to take a look at some of the games. And since we talked about Johnson, let's talk about them taking down Team Liquid. Everyone thinking, all right, Team Liquid bounced back. They were able to go 1-1 in week 1. They'll get things going against Dignitas. All these Dignitas haters out here are going to be proven correct, and Team Liquid's going to go shit on them. That was not the case. Obviously, Dignitas coming away with the victory. It was only 13 kills to 9, but Froggen coming up huge. Johnson not dying in that game at all. And another victory for Dignitas as they ended up falling later on in the day. But that match specifically, what did you take away from that 41-minute match?
Well, the biggest surprise to me was TL on 4 and 5, because with the entire time they had Shermfire, all they did was draft Jarban early and play teamfight comms. And they actively opted into doing something else. They drafted Lee and Rise on their 4 and 5, which I thought was really different from them. And they were running a 1-3-1 comp. So props to TL. I think TL has really nothing to gain in North America by just playing the same style over and over again. And them actively doing shit like this is so fucking good for them.
Yeah, I think Jensen played the split push really well for the majority of the game. The biggest surprise for me was just that, like, so far Johnson just looks like the most consistent member of Dignitas, which is weird. Like, you wouldn't expect that from a rookie. You'd expect that, like, you know, it would be Froggen and Huni being like the consistent members, and then you'd see like some lapses in judgment from Grig and Johnson. But Johnson just seems like he's just a good LCS AD carry. I mean, how long has it been since you've seen a game from Doublelift where he's just been consistently outperformed by the AD carry for like the whole game for in North America? And that's how it just felt. You know, like Johnson had the push early in lane, got the rotation to Rift Herald first. Like, he opened up, got like the snare mid, got a kill on Doublelift off that. Like, he just actually looks super, super good.
Yeah. So the weird thing about Johnson is this guy's so fucking polished. It's like he's a veteran. It's like he's been playing in like some kind of a minor league, like developing his skill versus like good players. It does not feel like he came straight out of solo queue. He sees opportunities. He doesn't hesitate. He doesn't make easy mistakes. Like, he is not a rookie. I don't know where the fuck he's been training, but send all
NA
the
solo
NA players there. That is not true.
Yeah.
Actually, probably duo queuing with Dom has taught him, like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
As an AD, if I don't play so consistent,
Yeah,
if I don't fucking carry
I
the shit out of this, then I'm not gonna. I can't win games.
The thing about Loco is he's actually too low rated to duo with any of these players because he can't get to Diamond 1 or Diamond 2. So, like, they're not able to actually get his coaching, so they have to go to me instead.
True that. But Johnson is so fucking legit. That was an unbelievable call. Like, you saying he would be a Doublelift level kind of player. I
don't know if I said Doublelift level. I thought he would be like good.
The next great AD.
You said the next great AD. And when you think great ADs in North America, you think Doublelift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
When you called him that, I was like, this is Dom just overrating a player. He probably duos with them all the time, so he has a very different perspective. Like, this guy's grit and solo queue, I can understand that. But on stage, it's a completely different factor. And he's just doing it on stage. So it's crazy. Just the no hesitancy and not getting caught out. It's just he just
looks for plays. Like, I love seeing that. Like, if he sees an opportunity, like Doublelift is like farming one extra minion, it's like, all right, I'm going for like the Gravitum ult, like the root ult on Aphelios, and he just hits him with it, straight kill. Like, he's the one that's setting up the plays. And then even in the other game that you saw, right? Like, he was the best performing member of this, like the Dignitas team that looked terrible versus FlyQuest. I mean, he's the one that got a solo kill in lane. You know, I mean, obviously he had like a questionable flash top, but in general, his Huni was just hard ending the entire fucking game. And I felt like the Echo pick just looked useless in that game as well. So it just felt like there was nothing for him to play around. But I feel like that's so important for a team. Like, this is what makes me feel like Dignitas could actually be like a top team. Like, they look like they could be like a top 4, top 3 team in NA right now, because they're able to like have a consistent, strong AD. And then like Huni is hit or miss, but if Huni's popping off, like, that's just going to be a win if your AD is good.
Yeah, I don't think anyone denies that. Even me, that ranked him so fucking low. If Huni's on, he's great.
You guys had them out of playoffs.
I had them out of playoffs.
Yeah, I had them out of playoffs because I thought that, like, so I thought Johnson would be good. I didn't think he would be this good. I thought Afro would be not as good, and I thought that Froggen would be like more of the Echo performance and less of the Victor performance. Like, that's the level that I thought. Like, I really just, like, I thought, like I said, I mean, Johnson and I obviously that was like one of my takes, is that I thought he was going to be really good. I just thought the rest of the team would not be able to show up. I think it's also kind of early, and we haven't got to see like the real level. Like Grig, I don't feel like has been tested. Like he obviously didn't play super well, but I think that in the game that they played versus FlyQuest. But I think in general, like that's a really hard game to play. I mean, your top laner gets level 2 killed by a Jarvan. That's a matchup as Lee Sin where you can 1v1 the Jarvan, but once he gets a free kill, you no longer have that option. So it's hard to find like good looks in that game. I think it just really depends on like what their style ends up being. If Froggen can actually branch out and play some of the assassins, because always he never looks super good on the assassins, right? He looks good in solo queue. You see him in competitive, and it always looks like the Echo game. If we start having a meta where like maybe Akali is like maybe this Akali nerf, yeah, maybe she's just nerfed and she's out of the game, right? But normally what Riot does with champions like Akali that they just like seeing competitive for some reason is they nerf it like once, it's going to be really big, and then one of the next patches they'll buff it, and maybe Akali goes into the spot where it is not permaban tier anymore, because right now it's permaban. But maybe it's like playable, and we get a meta where you need to be able to play things like Sylas. Like Sylas is decent right now. Maybe that becomes meta. Sylas, Akali, things like that. Is Froggen actually able to play that? Like, if he's not, I don't think that they can contend for a championship. If he can, like, who knows? Maybe this team can be really good. Maybe it can potentially be like a second place team, third place team, something like that.
I think Froggen will be good on what Froggen's good on, and he'll be bad on what he's bad on. Like, I know that that's a very like obvious statement, but he's always been that way. He's an incredibly good laner. He's a really good team fighter. He's so good at measuring distance with control mages. He's so good about playing around terrain, like whenever he plays stuff like Vel'Koz, like using the wall to make sure people can never jump on him, Lux.
Right.
So he's incredibly good at those things. He is like absolute fucking top tier. And then there's things he's bad on. Like as Dom mentioned, I think in general, I don't think Froggen's the greatest on melee carries, and I don't think Froggen's greatest on looking for small windows and capitalizing on those small windows, or working with his jungler to roam or force dives. And like those parts are huge, like it's huge aspects of the meta in certain periods of time, and Froggen just hasn't been good during those periods of time. So we'll see where the meta ends up. And I think Riot in general really likes those active gameplay way more so than control mages. So I think the meta is going to swing back around.
I think it's just weird to me because like there are certain melee carries that he was like good on, right? But there are always these weird champions. Like he was good at GP as a mid laner. Like he was good at GP for just no reason. He was super good at Talon for a while, and he was good at Lee Sin mid. So he has like weird picks that he likes playing, but there's something about like these AP assassins that I've always felt like he's a little whack on. The Akali, the Sylas, like I mentioned, Echo did not look good. It just always feels like he's not willing. And the other champion that I think right now that is pretty meta that we haven't seen him play is LeBlanc. It seems like that is like,
and then
yeah,
the
that's like it's like a very viable mid laner. Like a lot of teams blind pick it. A lot of teams are willing to pick it with like Lee Sin, Jarvan, etc. and set up plays. But I don't know if he's like good at that style. I think that maybe one of the things that I'm considering is like he's good at playing alone, but I don't know how good he is at communicating with his jungler. Where there's some players that are really good about like have that strength. Where I feel like Niski, for example, understands when to get his jungler to his lane. Like, hey, this is a kill timing. I'm gonna stun. Like he knows how to gank. I don't know if Froggen's really good at like knowing how to gank
or setting it up. Yeah. Oh, on the other side, what do you think about Jensen and Rise, and what do you think about Jensen's player or champion pool in general?
Well, obviously, like there's problems that we haven't we don't know about the Kiana. I mean, obviously Kiana got nerfed. I think that at this point, I know TSM played at jungle. I don't really see it being a jungler anymore. Like it didn't even look good in Dardoch's hands because of just how slow the clear speed is. You're not really able to like pressure the game as hard as you could before because you just end up behind. And like when the other jungle's level 4 and you're level 3, the fact that you have like a really annoying kit doesn't really matter anymore. So I'm gonna have to see if he can play Kiana. I think the Rise was interesting. I actually didn't think that would be a natural Jensen pick, but I actually thought he played the split push really well. Like in that game, the pacing of that game was that Dignitas was outplayed multiple times throughout the game, and TL would lose momentum. But whenever the game was in like a neutral state or they were in that lull state, it felt like TL was always getting advantages. Like it'd be like, okay, Dignitas make some plays and they're up 3k, and then they start like TL starts 1-1-ing, and then suddenly TL's only down 1.5k, and then they're only down 1k because of just like the ability to split push. Like he was smart about backing off waves. he was pushing at good times. Like it seemed like they had good ideas of like where the enemies were, and he was taking enemy jungle camps. He took the enemy blue. So I thought that was like a good thing to see from Jensen, because I mean, I know he's played some Rise before, but I didn't view him as a Rise player. But for the most part of that game, like outside of the couple like big mistakes he had, like when he walked forward with no flash at the end of the game, or like when he flashed into the Oriole at level 6, which I heard some behind the scenes from that. It was actually supposed to be like Schernfire's call to bait that. They're trying to bait that situation, but he ended up just dying for free. Besides for those like lapses, I thought his Rise was pretty good overall.
There was like a point at the Elder Dragon. Do you remember? They just didn't fight for Elder Dragon, and I think I forgot who died, but it was
somebody died first. I think it was
Core. I think
Core JJ died.
Yeah. Jensen backed to get voice staff, and then they ended up getting Baron, but that could have easily been they give up Elder and then they give up Baron, and that was the game. I thought they should have fought there 100%. So I think there was like some judgment.
You think they should have taken the 4v5?
They kind of have to, no? Like, because they got Baron luckily, but if they don't get Baron, then you're staring at a team with Elder and Baron, and the game's already done.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just you decide like how you want to play it, because both of the situations are risky, right? Like your options, there's no good option. You either take the 4v5 at Elder and hope you win that, or you try to sneak the Baron and you 50-50. It's a smite. Like I guess they just decided that because they have Lee Sin, maybe the smite wasn't as hard to hit. Maybe it wasn't that much of a 50-50, and like that was their higher percentage play. Yeah.
I mean, Stormfire is actually so good on Lee about denying before like actually smiting the Baron and not making it a 50-50, because Grig's doing everything in his power to be in the pit, and that's the jungle battle, right? When you're playing against Lee Sin, like, am I going to get kicked out and not get a shot at smiting the Baron, or am I going to be able to take the 50-50? And he actually got it off. Like, Stormfire is also one of those rookies or new players that's playing really well on stage and not playing nervously.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's playing decently well. I wouldn't say that he's been playing that well, because he has lane. Like, it doesn't feel like he's really good at facilitating his lanes. Like, he's good at like playing mechanically fine in fights and stuff like that. But I feel like there's like a lot of options that he has early game and like even in the mid game when his lanes do have pressure, because they get to a point where like their lanes are actually winning at different points throughout the game, and it never feels like he's there at the right time, which was Xmithy's biggest strength.
Yeah,
like he was always there at the right time, and he was able to like be like, oh, we're like winning in a CS advantage. Okay, we're like snowballing the CS advantage into like a turret, or we're taking like the blue buff off of it. It seems like he's still kind of lost in terms of that, but like his mechanics are fine, I would say.
Yo, Daniel, can you show the tweet regarding Broxah? We can talk about that now since we're talking about TL.
I don't have that one ready. Let me see.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll pull that one up later.
Okay, cool. Then we can move on to another game. I think we talked enough about this one.
Yep. So next up, wanted to chat on Johnson's former team, TSM, or I guess former overall club, TSM and EG here. This one going to TSM, picking up the victory there in 38 minutes, all the games being relatively long there. Dardoch on the Gragas, Broken Blade taking over the game with Set, and Jizuke getting out-dueled in the mid lane by Bjergsen, and Kabe finally popping off there. Thoughts on this battle here?
Dude, one thing that TSM's doing right after week 1 is their draft. So I actually had I didn't have an argument about it, but LS was talking about it on stream, and a lot of LS's viewers came onto my tweet, and they were shitting on me for it. So I tweeted that this was the best draft that TSM has had in a while. Their draft was Set, their jungle, Gragas, their mid lane, Joey, and Zaya Rakan. So it's such a good draft for TSM because it's so easy to execute. And when you're a team that's struggling, and when you don't really have the teamwork down, it is so crucial that you're picking drafts that are easy to execute. Because if you can't pick drafts that has like a way to engage that's good in scaling, that can team fight well, it makes it so hard for your team. If you're G2, then you can pick 3 priority lanes and just win off of that. But most teams aren't G2. So I think it's so fucking crucial teams like TSM play drafts like this.
Yeah, I thought their draft was good, and then I also think that the one pick, like I was going to talk about this at some point, but I feel like the biggest difference from watching LEC and LCS from jungle perspective is Gragas priority. Gragas priority in LEC, like all the junglers just think it's broken. It's literally like first rotationable on red side. So like the enemy team, like normally you'll have like the standard bans of like Akali, sometimes Set, Lucian, Rumble. Like you'll have like some of those bans, maybe a Tom Kench ban. Some teams will ban Aphelios and Senna. Like one team bans Aphelios, one bans Senna. But you're gonna have like that first pool of ban champions, and then normally the first pick will be the priority like AD carry. Like so, a lot of European teams they like Senna more than Aphelios, which is different from NA. Like NA is preferring Aphelios over Senna, but I think that the way that EU plays, since they play the map a lot better, the global ultimate from Senna is a lot more useful for them because their mentality is this: like if we have Senna on our team and Senna ult is up and we take a 2v2 top or 2v2 mid, we automatically win it because we have Senna ult. Because Senna ult shield is guaranteed. That's their mentality. Whereas like NA teams, like you heard Double speak about it, he's like, yeah, like I can't carry hard enough with it. So like I don't feel like NA AD carries like really are good utility players in general. Like they just are damage dealing players. So we prefer Aphelios. So because Senna is like first picked, Gragas priority is normally like red side first two. And if it goes to blue side like second, third pick, they normally pick it there. But NA teams just don't play fucking Gragas really. Like we don't care about Gragas.
We play Jarvan. It's like Zoe or not Zoe, Aphelios and Senna. So Jarvan's so good in NA.
Yeah, Aphelios and Senna are still played in EU, and Jarvan is really good in Europe too. But Gragas is like normally it's Jarvan and Gragas are like their top two priority, where our like priority is mainly like Jarvan and Lee Sin, and then people are going to like Olaf and Rek'Sai before they're willing to go to Gragas. And Elise is normally like banned, or like some teams just don't play it at all. But it seems like our priority, we have Elise, Lee Sin, Rek'Sai, and Jarvan all above Gragas. And in LEC, everyone just thinks it's fucking broken. So I think that's one of the biggest problems with NA is like our Gragas players just don't look good. I mean, Dardoch's Gragas was just
one of the few that's good.
Well, I thought he played pretty bad that game, to be honest.
He played bad this game, but Dardoch's Gragas is one of the few that's good because he actually knows how to pull the trigger and he can do the mechanics on Gragas. I think that's the big thing most NA junglers have a problem with. They hate being the one that's engaging, and they hate engaging on something like Gragas that is so committal. I think I know both have looked bad on Gragas so far, but I think Dardoch and Sven Skiren are our two best Gragases. Yeah,
I think that the pick here, the Gragas pick, I really liked it. What I thought was really bad. So EG, who's EG's coach? Is that Irene?
It's Irene plus Artemis.
Yeah. So I think that Irene really fucked up this draft by picking Kindred into Gragas. I think that is literally hard griefing. Like I think if you're letting them have Gragas, you have to pick Olaf into that team. It's good into Set, good into Gragas. Like Zoe is relatively immobile. Zaya like obviously has ways to engage or like has ways to disengage herself. But I think that has to be an Olaf pick. So I think they really, really, really trolled with the Kindred pick. Like that was like kind of like I'm like, dude, as a coach, how do you let this happen? Like at some point, as a coach, you have to be like, no, this pick loses us the game. I cannot pick this here. And I feel like that showed like really like a big lapse in judgment from somebody that I've heard a lot about, like positive about how he's one of the best coaches.
So the Kindred pick is even worse because it's versus Set also, and Set does the same thing that Gragas does, which we actually saw so many fucking times in the game, which is just carrying the person out of the ultimate and killing them. And regarding like the coaching staff, I think Irene and Artemis are both really, they love the technical aspect of League, and they're not drafting very realistically for their team. There was the whole Tom Kench Sona thing, but they keep drafting 1-3-1 and split push comps, where I know for a fact EG didn't have a lot of practice, and they're definitely not on that kind of level to be playing all those kind of comps. Like, do exactly what TSM and 100 Thieves are doing. Realize where you're at as a team and draft accordingly. Like, you don't have to try so hard to be.
So what does that look like? What does that look like, Loco? Like for
tanks,
EG?
Easy tanks,
Jarvan,
scaling team fight. So as Dom mentioned, Jarvan, Set is a good one.
Rumble, like FlyQuest, like so the reason I saw FlyQuest beating Dig, like I think that Dig is right now probably a better overall team than FlyQuest from the first 3 games we saw. But then you look at their team comp and they're playing this 1-3-1 comp of like Set, Echo, etc., where the enemy team just has Jarvan, Rumble, and it's just like that's so much easier for them to play Jarvan, Rumble, and I think they had like Alistar too. So it's like everyone combo your spells on this group of people, they fucking die. Like that is the easiest way to play League of Legends. And 1-3-1 for my money is the hardest way to play League. Just possible. So
1-3-1 priority, like it's what G2 does. Like if you're on the absolute highest level, that is how you need
OP.
To play.
Yeah, it's
and
OP.
If you can execute and if you cannot make mistakes, that is literally the best way to play. So if you're playing with robots and if you have G2 level players, then you can do that. But if you don't, any kind of mistakes you make with that comp when you fall behind, when you fuck up in a 1-3-1 situation, you get outscaled very easily. Like you lose Baron and the game is over. Like it's hard to get vision back. Like a lot of the comps that G2 plays, it's like what Soraka, LeBlanc, and all that junk. When they lose vision, and if they fall behind in tempo and they have to check into people, they're absolutely fucked. But G2 makes sure they don't ever have to get into that position.
Yep. Yeah, no, I think that's definitely a mentality that NA teams need to adapt to now. Now, the counter to that argument that people always say is, oh, well, if you only play these fucking comps to win LCS games, then you're never going to be able to like play the 1-3-1. So you're like wasting your time. You're never going to be a good team at Worlds if you just try to like play the easy way all the time. But like, realistically, if you're EG, your job is not to fucking win Worlds. Like that is not a realistic goal for your team. Your first team in LCS, your job is to number one, make playoffs, and then number two, try to get to Worlds. That is like what you're doing. And maybe once you get to Worlds, you can try to pick those comps up, like when you get into the boot camps, and probably you still lose, but at least you have like a decent showing, or like at least you're accomplishing something for your org. I really hate this idea of like, no, we just have to like do these 1-3-1 comps, because there's levels that you build on to become a great team. Like you need to get down like the basics first, and then you just like add different things to your game once you have like the fundamentals in place. But it feels like they just want to skip all the fundamentals and be like, let's be fucking G2. It's like, well, you're not G2 because you don't have perks, you don't have fucking caps, you don't have Wonder, Yankos, or Mickey. So you're not going to be
20
fucking
years
G2.
of competitive experience on your team and like good synergy.
Yeah, exactly. So what is the point of just trying to jump to that immediately? And like these comps, like they don't even make sense even if you want a 1-3-1. Like let's say you're playing EG's comp into TSM's comp in this game. Like you don't win 1-3-1 with that comp because you're just going to get engaged on and die. Like you don't have any like what you're running Kindred in a 1-3-1. Like how do you ever survive in the 1-3-1? You literally just get Rakan ulted RW. You're dead. You're dead, or you blow your flash. Next time, you're fucking dead. You lose Baron control for free. Like you have a champion that can't check into anyone. I don't know. It just seems like their ideas behind like all these like comps don't even make sense fundamentally, even if they were 1-3-1 comps.
Yeah. And also regarding like the training, right? Like if you have a little brother and you're teaching him how to bike, like you don't fucking send him downhill on a bicycle first. Like you let him ride his tricycle, and then you put him on a training wheel, like the fucking bike with the 2 training wheels on the side, and then you teach him how to ride a real bike. Like EG's just putting their players on a bicycle where they have never rode it before, and then sending them downhill and then watching them crash and die.
I think, well, at what point do you trust the players to do that? Who's the youngest one on the team? Kumo. But then everyone else on there is established and has played at a high level for a while, at least an established while.
I mean, Ziz was like played for a year and a half. I mean,
you can play
Suzuki has been playing for 2 years. Like
you can play super old, but your team, you should know your team, right? As a coach, that's one of your jobs. Like, where is my team at in terms of fundamentals? Where is my team at in terms of like macro understanding? Like, do we have the skills to pull this off consistently? Like that's something you need to know as a coach. And then once you know, oh, we can't do X, Y, and Z, and we should be doing this instead, like then they're not making a correct judgment of where their players are at.
And a lot of players, like it's really hard to know. Like when you're in a functional team that's working, it's hard to know which players are really carrying like the crucial information or the coordination needed in terms of like making their team succeed in that type of environment. So like if you take a player from G2 like Yankos, right, and you put him on EG, it's not like instantly they're a good 1-3-1 team, because there might be times where he'll like say get into the 1-3-1, like let's do this, like, and he'll do all the communication that he did with G2 to make that situation work, and it will just come down to like, oh, he doesn't know that like, yeah, I mean the players were just better at judging different things, so now he has to say specific things to make sure that the laners are safe. Like he has to tell the laners like, hey, once you push this wave, you have to get vision. Or like this is like now you're on the weak side. You have to play like differently. You have to back off after you push this wave. Like you don't really know who's balancing all the communication, like what people are saying what to make the team functional. So like you can take 5 players that have all been on successful teams before, but if they have different strengths and they, like some of their jobs overlap, it's like, okay, so when they're in that situation, like this person's talking about vision, like these 2 players, they both function in different teams, but they both have the same role in the communication where they both like controlled vision.
Gotcha.
Then when you like divide them up, it's like, oh well, now we have 2 people talking about vision, but we have no one talking about like where the waves actually are. We have no one that are pinging the waves like, hey, my wave is gonna crash here, I'm slow pushing this one, I'll push the next one, like let's match our waves on like right now. I'm gonna push one wave and rotate. Like they're not having all those other places in order.
Gotcha.
Someone in the chat actually said the Mithy situation. That's actually such a great example. Like we brought over Mithy, one of the best shot callers in the West, and TSM had one of the worst 2 years they've ever had. I guess did they only have 1 year with Mithy?
One year with Mithy, 2 years with Zven.
Yeah, and 1 year with Smoothie. So yeah, it's not plug and play like that. And also talking about this game, I do want to give credit to EG. They were executing their comp pretty well, and they were able to get Baron also. And if Broken Blade and Bjergsen had a catch on Svenskeren, which broke the Baron push, and then Broken Blade got the TP flank on EG.
Broken Blade 1v9 the entire game.
Where he got the secondary flank, and it killed their Baron entirely. And EG got really frustrated, and they were playing very impatient. Bang was like walking up through choke, getting engaged on by Rakan. Like there's just so many bad mistakes that they made later. But I think overall, EG played better League of Legends, but TSM draft was better.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like TSM's draft was better, and they outplayed throughout most of the game, but they just had like huge throws over and over. So like there was a point where they were like 2.5k gold up at around like, I think Gragas was around level 8, so it's like level 7, level 8 for junglers in the game. So that means that solo lanes were probably level like 18. So so at this point in the game, you know, like they're going around like the fucking top side. They swap their bot lane top, and they're trying to control vision. They're trying to push down the top turret because they have tempo. And then Dark just ran into the jungle alone. They start some like bullshit team fight where he dies. Fucking Bjergsen dies, and then suddenly they lose all pressure on the map. They lose a Rift Herald because the Rift Herald was I think respawning. I think that was the second Herald at that point. And it literally just ends up being like a clusterfuck, and they suddenly just are back to ground zero. It's like, okay, now we're just even in the game. We have to rebuild everything from the beginning. So I really felt like it was just a lot of individual mistakes from TSM that kept on snowballing them backwards. There was obviously the ult bot lane where Aphelios ulted Kabi, and Kabi had heal, flash, and ulti. And obviously, I mean, Aphelios is broken. No one knows like what fucking ult is coming when Aphelios throws ult because the visuals are just so unclear. But I mean, that's still on the player. Like you have to be able to react to that. He didn't ult, he didn't heal or anything, and he ends up dying. There was just a lot of like random misplays throughout the game that just put TSM behind. But overall, it felt like they were winning for like at least in the early game.
Dude, the problem with Aphelios is not the damage, but he has 2 tools that allows him to engage the Calibrium Q and the Gravitum Ultimate that are non-committal and such long range. And one of them's AoE. Like, I think that's the biggest problem with Aphelios in competitive. Like, those 2 tools make him insane. When we talked about it earlier, like Johnson engaging on double lift, like he basically has an Ash arrow. And it goes through creeps. It's AoE. There's just so much bullshit parts.
And I think it is smart the way Johnson played it, because if you saw like how Johnson played it, he had the Gravitum in his offhand, right? And I think that is actually the biggest problem with Aphelios is you can't really see his offhand weapon. Like you can if you're just staring at it, but if you're like trying to last hit, like you can't do it with your peripheral vision at all. And like even if you like I've had to play against it a lot and had to watch a lot of League to actually be able to see it now. So when you're in game, it's almost impossible to like keep track of like, okay, how many bullets does he have in like this weapon? Like how, like which weapon is in his offhand at all points? And like the way Johnson did it is he just kept the Gravitum in his offhand and then he just swaps it and then ults immediately. And Double just 100% didn't expect it. Because like honestly, you should be able to flash that every time. Like the ult is not insanely fast travel time. Like you see it coming at you, but he just didn't like process like, oh shit, that's the snare ulti coming. Like I don't know, it's really hard.
Yeah, I think that was such a cool moment because everyone realized, oh shit, it caught him off guard. You know, and that's, you know, it's this young rook against double Fs. And it's partially a smart play by Johnson,
the game
but also, yeah, that's what I was going to get to.
The also, 200 years of game design thinks it's good that you can hide your offhand weapon. Just look behind the character. You should be able to see due to the silhouette.
Yeah. So the silhouette, but then it's also just like when players are moving really fast back and forth and like turning around, like, and they're really good at like stutter stepping. It's pretty hard to focus on it, man. Like I'm literally watching the game like without even playing. I'm just watching the game as a spectator and I still can't tell some of the time. So I don't know. For me, I just think that really unclear visuals and then just the champion is so unintuitive naturally based on like what like other champions do. Like when you see a champion like Set, right? You feel like you know what he's capable of. Like he has the W, it's like, oh shit, like that thing gives him a shield. Like I know every time to do that. You know what his ult does. Like you see Aphelios ult, you don't know what the fuck happened. You see Set's ult once, you're like, okay, I kind of understand the character the first time you play against it. it just seems like Aphelios is so like complicated and for no reason compared to other champions that are in the game right now. Like even Senna is something that visually like is easy to understand, right? Like you see the E, you know what it does. You see the W, you know what it does. You see the Q, you know what it does. You see the ult, you know what it does. You don't know what Aphelios does when you play against it.
Yeah.
Very unintuitive.
I think we've kind of diverted off a little bit onto Aphelios land. Let's get the last game in here. Sticking with TSM. The gods did not listen to me because TSM did indeed defeat EG, so we did not have a true El Trashico at 0303. We had 1 and 2 against 03, but it was kind of like El Trashico because it was a classic dumpstering of CLG. As a reformed CLG fan, I remember those so vividly, and it just felt like another one of these where Wiggly's running around trying to do everything, and Ruin is just bad. Ruin was ruining the game.
Remember what we said earlier regarding like the draft? I think CLG and EG are the two teams that need this advice the most. They're drafting
the same thing.
Tom Kench Senna, Olaf LeBlanc, and Silas. Like, my God, what the fuck are you doing? Like, even if they were G2, I'd be a little worried with this kind of draft. It's not as cohesive as most G2 drafts. But stop drafting these like split push 1-3-1 comps with no engage. Like, you're not fucking Korean. Like, I think this is a problem that Song actually has a lot. I know Song's doing most of the strategic parts. Like, you're not in Korea. Your players are not Korean. Your players are not going to be practicing the way the Korean players are. And they're definitely not going to be executing the way the Korean players are. And even if you have two Koreans, like, they're not going to play the way they did back when they were in Korea. And Ruin was never a Korean player. Like, he's not someone that had Korean coaching, grew up with Korean solo queue, and played in LCK. So just fucking stop, CLG. You are not fucking in Korea with 5 Korean players.
Yeah, I think that they're like, even the game before this, I thought their draft was fucking terrible. Like they did the Kale top, which is like, I know Kale top's a good matchup in set or whatever, but you have this Kale Lucian comp with a Rek'Sai. And it's like, how are you going to fight ever with this comp? Like, you have to just 1-3-1 perfectly and win the game through just the fact that Lucian and Kale theoretically just win side lanes at any point in the game. But you could tell how uncoordinated it was because it didn't even get to the complicated part of 1-3-1ing where you actually have like the lane pressure and you start rotating in between the lanes and you develop vision in the jungle. Like, it didn't even get there. Literally, the 1-3-1 was like, all right, boys, we're going to get on the fucking map now. Everyone's fucking walking back onto the map. And while his whole team is setting up, Ruin is past the river, like fucking trying to push the wave into the tier 2 turret, and he just gets caught by 4 people and dies. And like, I know in his fucking mind, he's sitting there and he's like, oh, like, what the fuck is my team doing? There's 4 people on me. He's like pulling the Shinshin, like, what are we doing, guys? There's 5 people ganking me and we're just doing nothing on the map. It's like, yeah, your team fucking reset. It's your job as a split pusher to not only push your fucking lane, but understand the pressure in other lanes and where other lanes are, like where the waves in other lanes are at the point that you're fucking pushing, because your job as a top laner is to match your fucking wave with the other waves on the map, and he's just not able to fucking do it. And then like you can tell that it's a thing where he's just confused as to why he's getting 5-man ganked when there's nothing else happening on the map. Like, he thinks that there should be pressure, where it's like, dude, your Korean players don't even understand how to 1-3-1. Like, he's fucking up alone. Like, his team doesn't even get to fuck up. Like, because normally the way I see it is like, once you get everything done and you have the vision, whatever, it's really like on the 3 to like play safe, because they're the people that are going to get engaged on. And it's like the side lanes get to like shit on the ones that are defending them. They didn't even get there, bro. Like, you're literally just inting before you even get into the 1-3-1. Like, you're never going to be able to execute a 1-3-1 if you die at that point.
And the whole strength of Tahm Kench Senna is they're the best 1-3-1 bot lane duo. So you win most lane as Tahm Kench Senna. And then in 1-3-1 situation, you both the AD carry and the support has global tools with their ultimate to help out the side lane. If you can get to the side lane first, and if you don't go to the side lane, you can Senna ult and help out. That's like the strength of the duo, but you're not a good 1-3-1 team. Like, so that strength never really plays out, and you're just sitting there with no engage and also getting engaged on the whole time. So, oh my God. Just watching CLG play gives me such a fucking headache.
Yeah, I mean, they look exceptionally bad, and their drafts really bother me, like as a team, and also just their coordination is just super bad. I mean, the top dive from Wiggly and the Kale from Ruin was just a fucking train wreck. Like, they're getting 2v1 killed, and then in general, just the junglers that they play are just the hardest ones to execute right now in competitive. Like, if you look at Rek'Sai's win rate in LCS, I know Santorin got another win recently, but before the last win, I think it was something like 1-6 or 1-5. It was definitely like 20% or lower win rate in LCS, and it's just not a champion that I think is like super good right now, because if you ever lose control of the game, you just don't provide anything anymore. Where champions like Gragas, champions like even Elise, champions like Jarvan, they'll always provide something. Like Elise, you can always get a pick with a cocoon. A good cocoon can still affect a fucking fight. Good Gragas barrel, a good Jarvan engage they can always do something with those champions. But when you play Rek'Sai, it's just doomed. It's like, okay, like even when Dardoch played Chaotic jungle, right? He's behind, but his ult does something in the fight. Rek'Sai is not like that. You fuck up with Rek'Sai, game is over. Like you are just out of the game. The game is a 4v5 from then on. So it's like if you're not clean at closing out games, why are you playing Olaf? Why are you playing Rek'Sai? Why aren't you playing like the champions that should be able to like help you get out of some of these situations? Like if you're a team that gets behind in points of the game, the only thing that's going to turn that is a good engage or like a good ultimate from one of your players. It's not going to be about just 1-3-1 it out. We're going to split push them to death. Like it just won't happen in LCS.
If CLG plays another 1-3-1 comp next week, I don't know what to tell them, because like the problem is so fucking obvious. You don't have bad players. Like,
you know what you tell them? You tell them Solo's fucking available and Ruin is taking up a fucking import slot. So you get Solo in there, you bench Ruin, and then you pick up fucking an import for your jungle position, most likely because Wiggly's playing like trash too. That's what you tell them.
So
okay.
So on that, I wanted to go ahead and take a look at the bad teams here, because we talked about it a bit last week. You know, we had the good, the bad, and the 1-1. Well, I wanted to revisit that since we're on CLG. CLG squarely on there. One of the biggest predictions that we had. Loco, you've had most of the predictions correct this year, much more than I've had. I think a little bit more than Dom so far. But Dom's hit pretty hard on the Johnson thing. But you said it was going to be the year of Crown, and so you said you have good players here, but Crown isn't performing as well. Ruin, not Korean. What do you mean by that, and what can Crown do to fix it? Not even CLG. What can Crown do to fix that and help CLG
Crown
get better?
is like a leader player in CLG, especially not with a mixed roster. Like he's not going to be able to like turn this team around. This is actually on coaching staff and CLG leadership to be like, hey, we shouldn't be playing these kind of comps. Hey, this is how we should be practicing. This is what we're good at, and this is what we should be doing. 6A is a really good team fighter. Crown's a really good team fighter. Both these players made their names off of team fights. Why the fuck are you playing 1-3-1? Like, why the fuck are you drafting comps without engage? Why the fuck are you playing? Like, just stick the motherfucker on a tank. Just put Ruin on a tank. Like, stop giving him Silas. Stop giving him KO. Like, why are we playing?
Yeah, I mean, the reason why they're not sticking the reason they're not sticking him on a tank is because the only champion that's a fucking tank right now in the meta is Ornn, right?
Ornn, yeah.
And when he plays Ornn into 2 APs topside, when the team is Elise, Victor, and Renekton top, he builds 2 armor items instead of going Sunfire and Abyssal. So clearly he doesn't know how like, and his whole team doesn't even fucking know what Ornn does. Like they built 0 Ornn items in the game. So like from their perspective, they're like, yeah, we just can't play anything. Like you're actually just a fucking useless player at this point. You can't play tanks, you can't play carries, you can't play 1-3-1, you don't know how to engage in fucking team fights. Like what is your fucking strength? Oh, you're Korean? Great, dude. Like you can translate some shit for me, but that doesn't mean you're automatically great at fucking League of Legends. Like I don't fucking understand.
The weird thing is, I hear so much good things about Ruin and Scrims. Like, this guy is fucking... He must be, like, murdering people in Scrims, or, like... I don't know, because, like, it was like that last year, too, where he got 3rd in all-pro votes for top lane, and I was like, this guy isn't very good. And I talked to coaches, I talked to players, and a lot of people are like, Ruin's amazing. Like,
you know what's so weird is I talked to Broken Blade recently, right? And I was just shitting on Ruin like I always do, right? And he's like, no, Ruin's actually pretty good. And then the next day he just goes on stage and just shits on him, just hard shits on Ruin's up like 50 CS, and he's like, no, but trust me, he's good. And so I don't know if it's like one of these things where all the players just conspire to say Ruin's good so that they look super good when they beat him. It's like, no, Ruin's a tough opponent. Oh shit, I beat him by 50 CS. Damn, I guess I'm just the fucking shit. Like, I don't know if that's what it is, but this guy, I swear to God, I've watched all of his games, man.
There's no way people do that. Has that happened before? I refuse to believe that everyone would.
I'm kind of joking, but but realistically, like I don't see what makes him a good player. Like, what is his strength as a player? Like,
he must be good in Scrims. Like, I think that's something we can give credit to him on. And,
No,
like,
no,
has
I'm not. I
players
can't give
feedback.
credit to him on that because I haven't seen Scrims at all. So I refuse to. Like, what? How am I going to give him
All
credit
the
for
players
something
are
that
lying to you. All the players are lying to you.
Well, I don't really know, like because that hasn't been cited to me. You know, like when I talked to Broken Blade, he's like, "Oh, his Camille's good." It's like, why do you think he's good? Oh, he's really good at Camille. I'm like, well, I haven't seen his Camille, so like, I'm just seeing. I'm trying to analyze based on what I see. What I see is just a trash player.
Okay.
All right. Well,
I think it's very, very rare for players to give other players credit, especially when they're not on their team. And I heard it from multiple players and multiple coaches that Ruin is good in scrims. So he must be good in scrims. I just don't know what the fuck he's doing. Like, what is he doing on stage that's so bad?
I mean, he's running it down. That's what he's doing.
Jeez.
Like, he's actually just running it down for fun. Like, I don't know.
Well,
Like you get counter pick. Imagine, just think about just like one thing we talk about on the show is like draft resource, right?
Mhm.
How important draft resource is and like how that affects a game, right? So obviously for the people that are new here, like draft resource just refers to like what pick you get in the draft. When you have a later pick in the draft, you should have more impact on the game. So if you get a counter pick, you should be winning your lane. Well, you got the fucking counter pick of Silas into Orin, right? Like that was your pick. Broken Blade blind picks his Orin, and you know all the champions you have, what's your best one? He's supposed to be a really good Camille player, right? Camille's actually pretty decent into Orin. There's some counterplay in the matchup. You can actually E off the Orin Q. So when Orin throws his Q in lane, like good Camille players can, like there's like a little mind game where if Orin tries to E the pillar and cancels you out of your E, like when you try to hook shot the mini Orin pillar, like Orin can win the matchup. But if the Camille does it first, sometimes he can cancel the Orin out of his own E. So there's like this little mind game. It's like, that's a fine Camille game. If you're a really good Camille player, let's see it. But then we just get to see his fucking Silas counter pick. He gets the number one, he gets the highest amount of draft resource, and he loses his lane by 50 CS to an Orin, bro. And when have you seen an Orin win a lane that hard before? That is so ridiculous. That is such an absurd CS gap to have top lane. And even like where he blew his, and people will be like, oh, well, Dardoch blew his flash at level 4. He blew his own flash level 4 because they knew that Syndra was fucking going to the golems, right? They saw the Kiana at the golems, and then he just walked into River like 2 seconds after. He's like, oh shit, this guy's still here. Yeah, motherfucker, you didn't disappear. Like, what the fuck? Like, he's still, yeah, dude, Shinshin, I ganked you, and then you TP'd back, and I'm still there? Yes, because while I'm in the bush, I see you TPing, bro. Like, what the fuck is this supposed to be? Like, I don't understand how that mistake can ever be like, oh yeah, we got jungle pressure. Like, that is just you being a dog top laner. You didn't get camped. Nothing happened. Like, you ran it down yourself. You inted it yourself. Don't blame your jungler. Your jungler did fine. You did it yourself.
So speaking of top laners and speaking of CLG, we had a quick idea and we turned it around. We're calling it Pick Your Poison. So Dom has strong ideas about top laners, strong feelings. He's buried one of them that is the choice. And basically he has to pick between one or another, right? And so for this one, our very first one of Pick Your Poison, we've got our favorite boy that we just spent 5 minutes shitting on, Ruin, and kind of defending because he's a scrim god, or one of Dom's very good friends, loves to talk about him, and Loco obviously got to coach him, Mr. Colin Solo Ernest. Please expand what your relationship is with him and then decide.
I mean, for me, like, yeah, I mean, Ruin is somebody who inted me on solo queue with Teemo support, and Solo is somebody who flames me permanently in solo queue because he thinks I'm dog shit. Regardless of like my relationship with Solo, I have fucking eyes and I have a brain, so I'm able to determine that Solo is definitely a better player for Ruin, and I don't have to play with either of these motherfuckers. So I'd rather just have Solo on CLG because then maybe they could actually fucking win a game through draft resource and playing topside.
Solo also plays tanks. He's actually a really good Ornn too.
Yeah, good, great. I mean, how's the Silas? It's probably better than Ruins. We saw what that shit looked like.
It can't be worse than Ornn.
Yeah, it can't be worse. No way. So,
I think when we did our power rankings, we had Solo at like fifth or sixth.
yeah, there's one thing I want to hit on because I saw this comment in chat right now, but I see this mentality a lot where it's like being toxic in a team can be worse than not being good enough. And I think that that's exclusively for good teams. I think if your team is already like winning, then destroying the team morale could be more impactful than potentially getting somebody who like plays like a little bit worse. But on a bad team, I don't give a fuck how toxic this motherfucker is. You're not winning any games anyway. If he's toxic as fuck, like great, like your teammates aren't going to be happy during the week, but at least they'll win some fucking games. And at the end of the day, like what are you here for? Are you here to like boost your mood? Or are you trying to actually win LCS? Like if you're trying to win LCS, you got to get Solo in this situation.
Yeah. I mean, and if you're trying to boost your mood, stop playing League of Legends.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're playing the wrong fucking game.
Yeah, I'll definitely say we we didn't win many games after Loco got fired. Actually, we won more games after Loco got fired. But once that wasn't meant to be a shit on you for once. But the few games that we did win, the morale was, at the end of the season when everything was over, it did change the mood, right? Winning meant more than being nice to each other at times. And right now, CLG staring down 0-4, not looking so good. All right.
Also, did you guys see the solo tweet where he said free agent, by the way?
I fucking added CLG Gaming. I added CL Gaming right there.
Let me see.
I saw it much fucking later. Was it during the CLG TSM game?
Yeah, no, it was during the CLG TSM game, and then I replied on stream to it and added CLG.
Oh god,
dude, I've been flaming CLG a little bit hard on Twitter. I must say, I think I tweeted at them during the week. They said something like let me find it real quick. Let me find my own tweet. I'll get back to you guys in a second.
There you go. No worries. I've got the the solo tweet right there, and then you just come in and attack at CLG.
And before you get blocked by the CLG Twitter.
Hey, I mean, it might happen. If it happens, I didn't die for no reason. Maybe they'll have a better league team.
All right. Jesus. All right, what tweet are you trying to find, Dom? I'll find it.
So I tweeted something at CL Gaming recently. They said something to the extent of like, you want to know what it's like to be inside CLG?
Oh no!
They're doing their inside CLG, and I'm like, if I wanted to know what it was like to be inside CLG, I would have just watched Santorin's pro view from last week. I said some shit like that. So,
yeah. My god,
spicy!
Gotta get the fucking roast in.
I'm looking for it. I'm not gonna find it.
Yeah, it's fucking buried, man. I tweet too much.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway. So, in Pick Your Poison, we have Solo back in the LCS. We'll keep that in mind as we continue to watch Ruin try to transition into his Scrim God form.
I talked to Solo. I've actually been hanging with Solo pretty recently, and he didn't even get an academy offer. Like,
God damn.
I think that's out fucking rageous to not give Solo an academy offer.
Oh,
like,
that's what I want to show. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
When you have like Dignitas roster, like when like Lorlo's on an academy team, I think Solo would easily be the best academy top laner, and I think he would still be like top 6, top 7 best LCS top laner too. So, I mean, teams are just being fucking stupid, and he's not toxic in person. He's not toxic when he's on your team. He's toxic to everyone outside. Like, he has his circle, and he really is like a positive player in that part. It's just whenever he's on solo queue, he can't keep his mouth shut. So teams should really think twice if they're struggling with their top laner, and like double for CLG because they're struggling with their top lane, and also their top lane is an import. But for most teams, I think Solo would be an upgrade in the sense that he's not an import and he's actually really good in game.
Yeah. And if I could just like shit on CLG fans a little bit, too. When I did tweet at CLG, I got a lot of angry CLG fans that are like, wow, this irrelevant like ex-pro is just trying to use CLG for clout. It's like, dude, check fucking CLG's Twitter and then check my Twitter. Tell me that I need to use them in order to fucking get likes on my tweets and interaction. Like their fucking Twitter and everything is so fucking dead. So I just want to call out the CLG fans because, I mean, obviously, like if you're still a fan at this point, you have to be somewhat delusional. So yeah, delusional fans, delusional org, and bad players. So that's why there's 0-4.
The thing is, if you're irrelevant, why the fuck are they like tweeting at you? Like the moment someone calls me irrelevant, I'm like, then why the fuck are you talking to me? Then why the fuck are you tweeting at me? Why are you in my YouTube comments? Why are you talking about me on Reddit?
You know what's so funny is the people that call me irrelevant are always less relevant than me. Like the people that can call me irrelevant, like Mo, like Tyler One, like the people that are actually bigger than me, they act like I'm relevant. But the people that call me irrelevant are always these people with just 0 fucking followers. It's like, what the fuck, man? Like, you don't see the irony in this at all? Like, I don't know. It's interesting.
I just wanted to bring it up real quick. So we have the rankings for Solo here. So
Rip Zyrene.
Zyrene had him highest at 4. Me and Loco had him at 5. You had him all the way down at... When did the inting happen? Like, you had him all the way down at 8. You had Ruin higher than him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this was the point where Solo was like running it down pretty hard in LCS, right? This was right before he got benched for Lorlo.
Yeah. Oh, I remember. It was when he
was like-
laughed.
he had-
it was when he laughed when he was getting like solo kill. Yeah.
He was getting like he was just like running it. He was like 1-6, and he was just like laughing about like jungle pressure and stuff. And like I get it, dude. You had to play with fucking Mike Young. Like I wouldn't wish that on anyone. But like at some point, you actually have to fucking like pay attention to the game and do your best, regardless of who's on your team.
All right. Well, anyway, okay. That's enough of the bottom half. The bottom third, I guess Golden Guardians will escape from this one. I want to talk about the top teams here in our another segment that we called Hot or Not. We've got our top 3 teams here, Cloud9, FlyQuest, and Dignitas. We talked about Dignitas, I think, at decent length earlier, so we don't have to necessarily go too in-depth on them. But FlyQuest sitting at 3-1 and Cloud9 sitting at 4-0. Let's start with the front runners of North America, 4-0. They have the AD carry that has not died in a competitive game yet in the form of Zven. They've got their $1.5 million man, I guess baby boy, from French Canadian Vulcan, and they're looking like they're firing on all cylinders. Obviously, we think they're the real deal, but why do we think they're the real deal?
So Vulcan is actually now 1.75 million once we know the whole deal, because Johnson was also traded for 250, so he's even more valuable. And as for C9,
yeah.
like they are legit because they're doing what G2 does in Europe. They're not at the level of G2, but they're playing G2-esque comps, and they're actually executing, and they're actually like playing good tempo in the game and being proactive. They're playing the game the right way, winning the right way, and not making mistakes. So I think they are legit as fuck. And if I think I could change one thing on my tier list, I would put Cloud9 at 1, because I should have been able to make that call. Like I should have been able to make like TL goes down a little and how strong Cloud9 would have been, but they're by far the favorites. If I can pick one team to win the whole split, it would be C9.
I mean, I feel like that's just like too biased though, because you haven't seen TL with Broxah at all yet, right? Like we don't know if he's gonna get a visa or not. Like obviously this Thursday is supposed to be the big day on when he gets either approved or denied when his visa comes. But like for me, like I am not really judging TL up until I see them with Broxah and like Broxah gets some time to play with the team. Obviously C9 looks good. They're definitely the best team in NA right now. Like no questions asked. But I'm just not putting TL that low because like I see the way TL's playing and I just every time I see TL play, I'm like, damn, what if they had a really good jungler too? Like how good could they be? Like I think that there's like a reason to believe that they could still be the champions of NA.
You don't think TL's too rigid?
No, I mean like, even the way they're playing. I mean, they played the Rise 1-1 comp pretty well. I feel like when I look at that game, I'm like, okay, imagine with a good jungler that doesn't grief their mid lane at level 5, our team's gonna be able to play against that level 1-1. I mean, obviously C9 looks like they play a good 1-1 too, but then we're gonna actually have some good games in terms of 2 top teams competing against each other. Like if I were to think who the top 3 teams in NA are, like I know that FlyQuest beat DIG, right? Like that just happened. I think that was heavily draft dependent. From watching the full set of games, watching all 4 games, I think TL is still like a top 3 team. I think it'd be C9, DIG, and TL. That's who I think are the best teams in NA. I know FlyQuest got wins, but just the way FlyQuest won games, I just wasn't super confident on. So yeah, like I feel like FlyQuest could potentially be like a 4th or 5th team. I just don't, for some reason, see them improving as fast as everyone else as time goes on.
The big thing for me regarding the whole TL factor is it's still the draft. Like they don't play Kiana, they don't play Lucian. I don't think they play Rumble mid. I've never seen it. And Impact did play Aatrox, but he doesn't play a lot of split pushers beyond that. He plays a little bit of Gangplank, and his Gangplank isn't the full carry Gangplank. I think when it does come to best of 5, C9 will play more champions than TL will, and TL will actually be limited in draft, and it's going to be something that hurts them.
Yeah, I think that definitely C9 would probably be more flexible, but I always believe in like TL's clutch factor. And then also I just think that like, sure, Impact is not at like a super great carry player, but his carries are serviceable. And I think that when he's on a tank, he's just the best top laner in the league. Like you see him play Ornn, and even into like I know it was Ornn into Mordekaiser versus Viper. But like when you look at him play tanks, he just looks so fucking comfortable on a tank. He's so like smart about rotating around the map, like when he can pressure, like how early he can move. I feel like all those things are really hard to teach a player. And whenever you saw Impact versus Licorice in finals, whenever they played against each other, it was always the type of thing where it was like, damn, like it feels like Licorice can't do anything because Impact is just too smart. That's how it felt. Like it felt like Licorice just wants like, give me a fucking carry versus carry matchup so I can just shit on you and show you like how good I am. And Impact's like, nah, bro, I'm just gonna win the game by myself. I'm just gonna go win the game, do other stuff. Oh, you got a wave? Nice. I killed 3 people and got mid turret. Like, I don't know. I always hold Impact in super high esteem.
Yeah. So if Broxah's Visa, so I want to bring this up earlier. I know we don't have him here on the 3 teams that we're talking about, but if Broxah's Visa gets denied, what does TL do? Do they have to just sit and work with Surenfire? Do they look to try and trade for someone else, knowing that, hey, look, we're probably going to win LCS, let's move on and try to make a trade with a bottom feeder team? Like, what do you do to try and alleviate the loss of possibly a split?
So you probably Broxah gets Surenfire, I would think.
If Broxah gets denied again, they have to seriously consider that they will not get Broxah. So I heard this one's like really weird because the government never wants to tell you like their algorithm or how they do visa approvals or denials, because then people start gaming visas. But from what I understand, multiple denials will play against you in terms of getting the visa. So if you get denied once, you're still okay. If you get denied twice, you really have to seriously consider doing a different visa or doing it later on. So I think they have to be like, we're not going to get Broxah. Like, how do we make it with the players we have?
So I think that one of the things that ended up playing against Broxah here, and the reason why he's been like strung along for longer than the rest of the people that got visas from EU, is that there was like a clause in his Fnatic contract when he originally joined Fnatic, and I think that the contract carried over, which was that if he was underperforming, he could be demoted to Academy at any point. And the U.S. government didn't see like a potential Academy player as worth a visa, which is weird because some players have got visas as Academy players. But it seems like at this current moment, like people like Kadir from EUS, who is going to be EG's Academy jungler, got denied. So it seems like now Academy players are like kind of on the chopping block, where if you're an EU player coming to Academy, there's a chance that you just might not even be able to play.
Yeah. Oof. But going to answer Daniel's question regarding what happens if Broxah gets denied again, then they just double down on Surenfire, and that's their roster.
Yep, I think that's what they do. I think Surenfire like has potential. He's definitely a player that's like not unskilled or anything. Like you're talking about somebody who is...
He's been around for a long time. He was in North America way back in like 2013, 2014 on Dream Team.
He was actually the last person I ever played a competitive match against. I don't know if people knew that, but I played...
Wait, I want to know which. Let me see if I can remember which team this is. He was on. Was it Dream Team?
Yeah, he was on Dream Team, and I played because I wanted to.
Played Academy.
I had to play 1 week of Academy while they found a jungler. Because Dardoch moved to LCS, and then I was trying to fucking stream. But there was 1 week where I had to play Academy, and I got to fucking play Surenfire in my final competitive games.
Did you win or lose?
Yeah, hard shit on him. What? Are you kidding me?
We didn't ask if you hard shit on him. Did you win the game? Did you play Rek'Sai or did you not play Rek'Sai?
I played Rek'Sai and 1v9'd the fucking game. That was old Rek'Sai, bro. That was when Rek'Sai used to be able to win a game. That was before junglers were level 8 at fucking 35 minutes, all right?
That's Rek'Sai back in the day, TF ult.
Yep.
All right.
That's fucking nice.
Look, I wanted to get your thoughts on FlyQuest as are they hot or are they not? Are they true or are they pretender? Because again, 3-1, and they pulled out some decent wins here.
So TSM is probably the team I'm the most fan of, and I like vibe with the most in terms of like the brand and the history. But FlyQuest is my closest LCS team. Friends with both the coaches, David, Curry, and also the GM. I love FlyQuest, but I think they're picking up wins due to a lot of teams being very disjointed. A lot of teams had visa problems. They didn't get to practice. I think FlyQuest drafted well in so many of their games, except for the one to TL. So, yes, they're 3-1, but I think further down the line, like they're going to be caught up really fast, and they're a team that's kind of capped. And they also kind of have the similar problem as Dignitas does, where they're really good for the meta right now for Power of Evil, but what happens when the meta doesn't look great for Power of Evil? Like this guy did not play some of the meta champions, so I'm worried for I'm so worried for FlyQuest every week that goes on, and I think it's going to show more and more.
All right, well there you go. So our professionals here saying FlyQuest not fully sold. It sounds like not fully sold from Loco, not sold from Dom. Cloud9, obviously the real deal because everyone's firing on all cylinders. If you guys need more reading content, another article came out, a solid read here in Inven Global from Zven. So Zven sat down with Inven Global and talked about the hard work that he put in the offseason, his relationship with Vulcan, and also talked about filling the shoes, that awkward elephant in the room, filling the shoes of Sneaky as a Cloud9 fan, and then defended TSM a little bit as well. So Zven tried to do it all in this interview. I thought it was a pretty cool insight into one of the star players on that roster who is now fulfilling some of his...
the 50 KDA.
Yeah, some of his potential here.
He's just being nice to be nice, I think. He's talking about, I have to fill Sneaky shoe. Don't shit on TSM. Does he really feel that way? Zven is a confident, cocky player. He probably feels like, go fuck yourself, C9 fans. Go fuck yourself, TSM fans. I'm fucking killing it on C9. You said I wouldn't be able to.
Why do you think you'd say go fuck yourself, C9 fans?
They gave him so much shit before joining. They're like, oh my god, what? We're not a family anymore. What about Sneaky? This is not my C9.
Not my C9.
We lost the off season. There's so much fucking bullshit anytime a player joins C9 or a player gets kicked from C9. I'm sure Zven is fed up, but he wants to buy good brownie points. He's not gonna fucking say that shit. He's gonna be like, man, C9 fans, thank you for accepting me. I know Sneaky was the greatest player ever. He was fucking God on earth, better than Double Lift. I don't know why people kept saying he's bad in lane. But I'm gonna try to fill his shoes. I can't be Sneaky, but I can try.
I mean, if he really wants to try to be Sneaky, let's see him put his ass out and fucking get in a cosplay. Let's see if he let's see some real fucking Patreon action if you want to be Sneaky.
Where's the TSM Dr. Pepper commercial? When he starts touching the Dr. Pepper thing, it's so fun.
Do that shit in a bikini, then I'll give you that you're able to replace Sneaky. All right, without that, I don't care.
And he's just my goodwill from the TSM fans. Also, guys, there was a lot of problems on TSM. I was also one of the problems. Bjergsen's still great. TSM is still great. Please support me on C9. Yeah, he's just buying brownie points. How does no one else fucking see this?
Let me see this. Here's take this, you brownie points. Oh my god, right there. It's this one. Ugh. There.
Mike Young.
Wait, actually, I'm starting to think about it. It's man, maybe all these players just lost it because they had to play with Mike Young, dude. Maybe you could only blame Mike Young for 2018.
Come on.
Jeez. I guess he's TL now, so I'm supposed to be nice to him, but my god, he ran it on TSM. He ran it so hard.
My favorite is when the streamer is sponsored by a team, so Dom with TL or LS with CLG, and they're on the Twitter shitting on them. I just at the team. Whenever LS is shitting on CLG, I just always go #we are CLG.
Well, it's easy for me because for the last 2 years, TL's just been winning everything, so I don't really have to shit on TL ever. But maybe at Worlds I have to shit on them a little bit, but I don't need to go in. But yeah, man, I don't know. I think Mike Young, the reason I started flaming him so hard is I always thought he was good but a nice kid. But then I saw what he tweeted at Rush, and I'm like, no, fuck this kid. So
we're not bringing this up. We're not bringing this up. All right, we're
that's all it is.
Moving on.
Sorry, I took your job.
We're moving on to close things out here. Tweet of the week.
Wait. Let's talk about Dig a little bit before we go.
All right, Dom, going back to Dig.
Dom, how bot are you on the Dignitas thing?
I'm pretty bought. When I looked at that game that they lost, the only game they've lost so far, I think that Dig will probably be top 4, is what I perceive.
So TL better than Dig in the future potentially. Who else do you have above them?
TL, Cloud9,
C9,
TSM.
and then maybe TSM. Maybe TSM. TSM and Dig, I think are gonna compete for 3-4, and then probably be 5th.
I know TSM won 2 games. They're doing it at slow and steady. Dardoch doesn't look the greatest. I know Bjergsen is sick.
So that's what I think. So Bjergsen's super fucking sick, and I don't even think Bjergsen's playing as bad as everyone thinks he is. People are shitting on. People just love shitting on Bjergsen for some reason. Right now, it's just meta to shit on Bjergsen. If you shit on Bjergsen, you get Reddit up votes. It's he's fucking washed up. Should have stayed in EU, asshole. I don't know. People just love doing that. But he's actually still pretty good in my mind. I think Broken Blade is an absolute fucking monster. I think he's just straight up top laners in NA right now. Probably with Licorice, like he looks better than Impact so far this season. And I believe that Dardoch won't play like this. Like this is the only time that I've seen Dardoch play this bad on stage from like watching all the professional teams. Maybe there was a stint in Immortals where he kind of looked like this, but he didn't look like this originally. He only looked like this after his mental boomed and like the team was like in 7th place. So I don't even think his mental is like a problem right now on TSM. I just feel like he's just having uncharacteristically bad mechanical performances where like that's always been a strength. So I'm not going to just discredit his whole career up until this point and completely change my opinion of him as a player just because of like a couple bad weeks. But yeah, like if Dardoch starts playing like the fucking Dardoch we know and he's like a carry threat, Broken Blade's playing this well, Bjergsen plays fucking well in the mid lane, and then you have like Kabi Biofrost, who's an extremely serviceable, extremely good bot lane. I could definitely see a world where they end up better than Dignitas, and our top 3 is C9, TL, and TSM.
Okay. I'm not all the way bought on TSM yet, but I'm also not very bought on Dignitas either. So I'm curious what's going to happen for 3 and 4. Like, am I still like outside of like the fucking ballpark pick is CLG even at 0-4?
What?
They have good pieces. They have good pieces. Just fucking.
They have one good piece. They have Crown. Wiggly overperformed last year. He looks like doo-doo right now. All right.
I don't think he looks
Smoothie's like Smoothie. I view it as like pretty good. I don't think that he's gonna change that team. Like all those supports, like Smoothie, Biofrost, like Zazel to some degree, they're in that same like group of me where it's like, oh, you guys are all like pretty good, but you're not good enough to actually like make a difference because you play support.
You're not core JJ.
Yeah, you're not core JJ. Yeah, you're not core JJ, and you're not Vulcan. Vulcan actually looks really good on C9 so far. Like I've really liked how he's been playing. I think that C9's biggest strength right now, and the reason why they're dominating is they just have
Vulcan's Zven.
Yeah, Vulcan's Zven, but then I also just feel like they have like actual top players in every position right now. Like
no
every
weak
single
players.
Yeah, they have no weak players. Where every other roster has like players that are questionable right now.
I'm still not bought on Dig. I'm not bought on TSM. I'm honestly not bought on CLG either, but I don't want to abandon my pick so early, even though they're 0-4, so we'll see. The only teams I'm really bought on are C9, and TL just have to give them the respect for what they've accomplished.
Yeah.
And they also don't even look bad. Like the game that they lost to Dig, like the 2 games that they lost were C9 and Dig. Right? So they lost to like 2 of the other really good teams in the league. And the Dig game was super fucking close. That was a winnable game. And the C9 game was the first time Surefire's ever played on LCS stage. So like, and that was their first game together. And they've looked better as time has went on. Like their game versus TL, I thought was really fucking clean for the most part. Like their game against FlyQuest, TL's game against FlyQuest looked really fucking clean. They shit on them for the most part. So yeah, I'm not ready to say, oh, TL is like suddenly not even top 3.
Yeah. And so now that we're
just because of record, like who cares?
Now that we're revisiting, I don't have a graphic for all the LCS teams, so I have our preseason rankings up here. There was a couple I wanted to touch on. I wanted to touch on Immortals and Ica and the French Revolution that is taking over there. And what are they at 2-2? What is this team?
Nah, they're still shit. They're still shit. I'm watching their shit. You can tell that they're just not a good team. Like they beat Golden Guardians when Keith is fucking running it down. They got the 70-minute win off TSM. Like I haven't predicted them to win 1 game so far, and I'm going to keep it like that. Like I'm not going to predict that they're just going to suddenly be better than they are. Like they don't win in a convincing way, and their drafts like don't look super fucking good. Like this is one thing I said on my stream, which is so fucking true. You know your draft is dog shit. When before the game is even played, you see your coach go into the pregame interview, like the interview right after they get off stage, like when people are just like setting up lanes in the first like minute 30. Your coach goes into that interview and is immediately apologizing for what the draft was. It's like, yeah, I mean, we've only had 6 days of practice, and I know that this draft might not look very good, but I think it has a chance to work, just bear with us. It's like, oh, motherfucker, like, you got outdrafted. Like that is actually what you're saying. The Ica pick for Yasuo, you blind Yasuo into a player like Niski. Like Niski is the player in mid lane that I feel like can play the most different types of champions right now. Like he plays Vigar, plays Pantheon, he plays all that shit. And you're going to fucking pick Yasuo into him? That's a great recipe to be down 30 CS mid lane and get solo killed at level 4. Nice. Great drafting, Zabatine.
Daniel, anytime we
I know.
Easy at 3, dig at 10.
I know, dude. I know. So I had to use this graphic because it's the only one that has all the teams on there right now. and I'll take it because I'm getting destroyed. No one's gonna call out how high CLG is for anybody else, and I had CLG the lowest out of all of us. No, there's no way.
I'll take it for the CLG pick, but you have EG at 3 and Dig at 10.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the 4 through 7 teams are all just like the same fucking group.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd say like the one that I missed the most on was FlyQuest, but like,
Yeah.
who knows if FlyQuest is actually going to be good? I could definitely see a world.
FlyQuest will wait on. Let's wait on.
Yeah, I could see a world where they're like a 6th place team that doesn't even look like they can contend.
You guys don't see like Dig like booming, like just internally booming.
Not to 10. They're not going to boom.
No,
to 10.
not to 10, not to 10, not to 10. I am wrong on that. I will accept.
I don't see them booming. I just see them being like mediocre potentially. I think there's a world where they're just like a 5th, 6th team as well, and then our top 4 ends up being like TL, TSM, C9, and then maybe FlyQuest actually ends up being pretty good, and then you just have Dig being mediocre. Or I can see a world where you have like TL, TSM, C9 all being good, and then Dig and Dig, EG, 100 Thieves, FlyQuest, all of them just look like the same tier of team.
Yeah.
I see that happening too, where we have like a clear top 3, and then we have like a 4 through 7 that it's like, all right, well, none of you guys are ever gonna win, but like.
Someone's got to make it to playoffs.
Yeah. Like somebody's got to be in playoffs.
So
yeah, exactly.
Speaking of those teams, the other team that I wanted to hit on before we go to Tweet of the Week and close things out is 100 Thieves. We all are relatively close on 100 Thieves being there. What do we know about them? How do we feel about them 2 weeks in?
Oh, Ryoma is questionable.
He's doo-doo tier.
Yeah, he's doo-doo tier to me. I just don't see it in him. Like, there's certain players where I just see it in them, right? Like, I can see the greatness inside of you, right? That's how I felt when I first watched Dardoch play on stage. That's how I felt when I see Johnson play on stage. It's like, I see it in there. It's like, maybe if you, like, int a couple weeks, like, people are going to be shitting on you, but I'm staying with you. I believe I see the greatness inside of you.
Are you preaching?
When I look inside of fucking Ryoma, all I see is doo-doo. I just see doo-doo inside of him. So, like, that's just how he looks to me, man. Like, I don't know.
Oh, no.
The thing is, like, I don't know Ryoma very well, but I know some of the 100 Thieves staff, and I can appreciate the hard work, and I can appreciate I don't have a real opportunity in Oath, and, like, I need to come to NA to actually further my career, and I need to like really fucking try hard here. I need to put in the work that other players aren't and be really good. And he just plays really nervously on stage. That's what I see.
Yeah, but I mean, like, so when I shit on these players, this is something that I was saying before. Like, when I shit on these players, a lot of times it's not their fault. Like, so for example, for Ica or like Keith, they probably know that they're not LCS level players, but what are you gonna fucking do if you're trying to be a pro player and you get a good fucking offer? Like, if you get like your opportunities to play in the LFL,
too good for me. I think I should just stay.
Yeah,
in the
what the fuck? It's not on them.
Make minimum wage. Like,
yeah, Keith is like, okay, so you like haven't played LCS in the last 2 years. You've been in academy. Like, if you role swap, we can put you on an LCS team, get to play LCS as a support. Like, maybe it goes well for you. I mean, shit, at this point, it's like his last chance, right? He's the fucking laughing stock of LCS like community. So for him, like, it makes sense to do the change out. Like, he is definitely dog shit at support. Like, when you watch him play, he's just inting the entire game. He gets caught permanently. It's just obvious that he's super uncomfortable in the role. But that's not on him. It's like I've put that on the Golden Guardians people that actually fucking decided on that. Like, I put that on a narrow and stuff like that. It's like, really? You have other options in NA. You're telling me that a player that even like a player that looked mediocre last year, like JJ, for example, you're telling me that Keith is better than JJ? I would not believe it. I would not believe that JJ is a worse player. Like, at least JJ had highs. Like, he had lows too, but he at least had highs. Like spring split on FlyQuest, he looked pretty good. When he first came into the league, the summer split of 2018, he looked decent. I would take that option over Keith McBrief role swapping. I would take Huhi, who role swapped and looked decent last year, over him too. Like, I think that there's just better options. Like, fucking isn't Huhi even in the Golden Guardians like
he's the Golden Guardians Academy
ecosystem? Yeah, so he's so like why are we just going to Keith McBrief role swapping and playing support all of a sudden? Like, that's who I'm shitting on here. I'm shitting on, like, when I shit on Ica, it might sound like I'm shitting on Ica. I'm not. I'm shitting on Zabutine for having this French bias and getting this like LFL mid laner that is like mediocre at best. Like, I'm shitting on that person actually.
As long as
we'll get more into Keith. Let me touch on like the Ica Zabutine point.
Yeah,
I don't think it's wrong for Zabutine to pick his friend that he feels like he knows more about, that he feels like other people don't know the true judgment of, and that he feels like will give his best and be better than a lot of the options. But you also have, as a coach, because you have that power, you also have to get shit on, and you also have to take the responsibility of, I picked this person. I thought this person would be one of the best things for my team, and I'm gonna die with it. So it is completely within the coach's right, but you also have to take the shit that comes with like picking the wrong player.
But I don't even think that that's how it should work. Like, obviously, you should know that you have some level of bias within yourself. So you should be trusting the people around you to help you make that decision. Like, as a coach, I don't feel like you should be like, no, I'm the only person that like should put input into this roster. Like, if I had a friend or like somebody that I considered like somebody that I was close to, I know that I would always like be partial towards them, and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. So that's why you have to like be able to trust other people's judgment within your org and be like, hey man, like this is what I was thinking. What do you guys think about it? And then if like everyone agrees with you, like sure, then you end up with Ike on your team. But if not, like I don't want to see him play LCS.
I'm sure Keaton, the Optic GM or the Immortals GM, also put his insight on. And for 100 Thieves, I know for a fact, coaches definitely had their insight on Ryoma. They talk to other player. They consider, some of the other players can only speak Korean. They want a lot of money. Ryoma's willing to put in the work. He's going to be much cheaper. Like, all these decisions are never just made by Papa Smithy wants Ryoma, they get Ryoma. Zabuteam wants Ica, they get Ica. It is way more complex than that, and multiple opinions were held. But ultimately, people like Papa Smithy, people like Zabuteam are going to have to take the fall for, hey, Ryoma didn't work out. Hey, Ica didn't work out.
Yep. And I think that the one thing that we should like be aware of in both of these situations is like, I understand that these both were good casters. From what I hear, Zabuteam was a good French caster, right? Papa Smithy, one of the most beloved casters in the league community for the last couple of years. Everyone loved him when he was casting LCK. That doesn't automatically mean that you're like a good GM, though. Like, I don't think that skill set necessarily transfers over one-to-one. So, like, maybe people should be looking for like GMs that are more closely involved with the competitive league scene outside of casting.
Well, so look, I think you should respond to that critique because I think that's a fair one. But before you do, I think without just destroying Zabuteam, he got Crown. Like, Crown went to Optic, and that was part, whether or not, we're giving him full blame or partial blame for going with Ica, and Ica hasn't looked great yet. And, Zab has said it's because of practice, not necessarily because of the player. He also should get the credit for bringing Crown to Optic. And Optic was, Power V was leaving. It was like, oh shit, it's all over. Who's going to carry this team? And Crown came in and was a fit, and they found success. So
he definitely did more on Optic than we expected him to do. But like, you have to get better. You have to make better and better decisions, right? To grow as a head coach, to grow as a GM. And this Immortals roster is not cheap at all. X-Smithy, wanted by so many teams. He's one of the highest paid.
He might be the highest paid, is what I've heard.
Spencer's on a old C9 contract.
Dark can't get paid shit because he's on TSM.
Broxah's like,
No, Broxah isn't getting paid that much. Like, from what I've heard, like, X-Smithy's like 800K, like, tier.
I heard higher.
You heard higher than 800?
Yeah.
Shit, maybe.
I didn't hear it internally from Immortals. I heard it from one of the teams that were in the races, and I definitely heard higher than 800 because they got higher than that and they couldn't bid anymore.
Interesting. I heard it was 800.
Okay. So neither of us have 100%.
Yeah. I don't have like. Real...
We're just going off.
We're spitballing.
What we heard. Heard.
I mean, it's not complete spitballing. Like, I've had people tell me, but I haven't confirmed my sources well enough to like put my fucking name on that shit.
Yeah. So he's the highest paid jungler. Hakuho had multiple offers, not just Golden Guardians, not just Immortals. So when you get multiple offers, your price goes up. Every team that wants you, I feel like your price goes up by like 10%, 15%. So this is not a cheap roster. Like, that's where I think a lot of criticism goes towards Immortals. 100 Thieves had a set budget, and they stayed within their budget. Immortals' budget, from how I understand it, was much higher than 100 Thieves. I'm sure Soaz was cheap. I'm sure Ica was cheap. I'm sure Altic was cheap. But this is still not overall a cheap roster.
Yeah, so like you have to just compare them to other teams that are in that same like amount of salary. So like when I look at a team like 100 Thieves, I compare them to a team like FlyQuest. And it's like, okay, like you guys both probably didn't spend that much. So like I know Ignar and Power Weevil aren't cheap, but I mean neither are Someday, and probably Meteos wasn't extremely cheap either. So can't imagine Cody was that cheap after his performance at Dignitas and Clutch last year. So yeah, like I think that 100 Thieves still for that, like they're doing worse than you would expect. Even though I think they're only 2-2. It's like a bad 2-2 though. That's the difference.
There's a team we shit on all the time that I feel like we kind of have to give them credit for. Golden Guardians. Closer is a fucking Smurf pickup.
He's really good. But I think that the key thing is just awful.
Yeah.
Are they 1-3?
It balances
They're
each
1-3,
other out.
right?
They're 1-3. That's correct.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not giving you praise because I said you were going to be dog shit. 1-3. That's not so good. And like the one win you had was against who was the one win that they had? They had one win against.
It was not a good team. Let me try to think.
It wasn't
They
100
beat CLG
Thieves.
maybe, or was it
I
CLG?
think it was sealed. Evil Geniuses.
Oh yeah, it was Evil Geniuses
My
with
bad.
the Sona
Third
Tomcat.
place
Yeah,
team.
that's the only game that they won.
damn
So I don't really put that much on that. Like it's like even the game versus Immortals. Like I actually had them as favorites in the game versus Immortals because Immortals looked terrible when they played against C9. Obviously it is C9, but Immortals draft looked really bad. So I don't know. I think Golden Guardians is like where they belong. Like they're definitely in my mind going to be a bottom 3 team.
Also, they should have had the second, whatchamacallit? They should have had the second win from
100 Thieves, the fucking
The
Fiesta.
Zoe game.
Because then I think we look at Golden Guardians very different if they're 2-2, and we look at 100 Thieves very different if they're 1-3.
I don't really think so. For me, at least. Like I'm trying to judge like the overall level of play, and I'm trying to like predict into the future like what I see their games looking like versus better teams. And it's like for me, it's like 100 Thieves is still going to be worse. Like there's like 6 teams that I'm like, all right, you're probably just worse than all of these teams right now, which would be like TL, TSM, C9, DIG, FlyQuest, and then like probably
maybe slot them in there.
yeah, like probably like EG too if EG gets their shit together to some degree. So I don't know. That's just how I view it.
Do we want to touch on EG? We didn't talk about them. This will be the last team that we haven't touched on.
We talked about their draft a little bit.
Yeah.
Their Kindred draft.
They're too smart. Stop being too smart. Just you're not that smart.
You're not actually geniuses. Be like evil. I don't know. I don't even have a good one. But
I want EG.
what's less than a genius? Be like evil. I don't know.
Talented. I don't know. Like
not evil griefers, chat.
Evil
You gotta help us out with this.
griefers.
They're not the evil griefers. They're not shitters. They're
like evil-
achievers. Evil achievers. I like that. Be the evil
Achievers.
Be the evil achievers. That's a good one.
Yes.
That's a good one. I'll take it.
You guys are better than I thought you would be. Like individually, everyone like Suzuki is like good. He's probably the best LeBlanc I've seen in LCS at the very least. And like Svenskeren is still Svenskeren. Kuhn was bad.
Is he still Svenskeren?
He's still Svenskeren. Like we're gonna take like he had like few bad games, and we're gonna be like, oh, you were the MVP. Now you're a dog shit player.
Well, I mean, I thought his Rek'Sai game pretty much lost the game alone.
He is on Rek'Sai.
Yeah, true. I think
like,
the pick loses the game. But I think that like his picks, like most of the time, Jungle has so like I don't know whose fault it is, right? It's either Irene or Svenskeren most of the time. I doubt that somebody else has that much control in the team already. Where like Bang's like, no, you fucking dog, pick Rek'Sai, like come to my fucking lane. Like I want early game only. Like, I don't think that's how the shit is going down. So one of them is making really bad decisions with these jungle picks. Like you have 2 bad jungle picks in the weekend.
The player will tell you, oh, we can play the 1-3-1 comp. We can play the hard comp. And as a coach, you're like, we should do this. Like the player wants ice cream for dinner, and you're like, let's not have ice cream for dinner. Not today. Like you have to be the bad guy, and you have to tell them like.
Well, he got the fucking ice cream for dinner. He got the Kindred into Gragas set.
Yeah, there was
There
a
it
lot
is.
of diarrhea that night. Holy
Yeah, that was diarrhea all over the game.
diarrhea.
True.
All right,
Yeah,
just
but easy. Just be. That's actually a good one. Be evil achievers.
I want to
Be the evil achievers.
Yeah, so evil achievers is how we're going to refer to them from here on out. And, you know, one thing that I wanted to do this year was make sure that when someone did cool shit, we call them out. So staring at goats, that's the guy that came up with the name. No one else actually copied it either. So staring at goats is the one that came up with evil achievers. Congrats. You made it funny. All right. So we've gone over all of the teams here. Thank God I can change the fucking scene now and we no longer have to look at my preseason rankings. All right. So tweet of the week. we touched on it a little earlier, and this time there was an assist from the LCS. So from the guys that brought you Lep, 0-16 and 2 in 3 games. The guys that brought you Waving Kiwi Kid, 88 deaths, most in the LCS. Their newest and best one, poor guy, fucking Keith McGrief, 122 and 12, 3 isolated deaths, and 41.9 kill participation. That tweet coming from our boy Zach Rusty Pie, caster in Osh. You know, we're already bringing a ton of the players over. We'll bring some of the content over as well. Rusty kind of just destroying Grief there in that one. Did I say Grief? I meant Keith in that one. I feel like, is that unfair to just be like, yeah, he's died a lot and his fault in the way that they kind of represent that?
His fault. He does not know which side of the mid lane he needs to be on when they're doing 1-3-1.
He doesn't know what's dangerous, what's not.
Fucking wars when this guy has no idea how to play support. Okay, Dom knows more about Keith than me. I still know a decent bit about Keith. Keith is mechanically really solid. He's not a smart player. He's not a leader. His game knowledge isn't his forte. Why are you role swapping him to support? His tool set as a player does not match what makes a good support player. You're destroying a player's career by you're wiggling like an LCS spot in front of him and be like, you can have this LCS spot if you play support. You can have this LCS spot. You've been stuck in academy for so long. It doesn't match your skill set, but you can have this LCS spot if you say yes. Like, it is so unfair to Keith.
Yeah, I think that's a problem. But also, I feel like this is just what happens when you take like a carry player and you try to stick them on tanks. Like, inherently, people like that. Like, he played a lot of solo queue, he played scrims, etc. When you play LCS and there's not as many kills and is a much slower game, you do not get very tanky very quick. So I know he believes that he's like Tom Kench, and like in his mind, it's like, oh, like they can't kill me. I've got a stone plate. You die fast as fuck. Like when people are farming a lot and have like items, because the thing is like you might not be getting your items at the same time as support or jungle, but everyone else is, because they're playing for waves, they're playing for turrets, etc. They're playing for plating. So like it's just, for me, it's just he just doesn't understand the capabilities of the champions that he's playing. He doesn't understand how squishy he really is when he's playing Tom Kench, and it just shows like he's having to learn these mistakes on stage. And yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of times like stats can be unfair, but this is a situation where like most of these deaths are his fault.
So the thing about support is like you're reading the map and you know where to be. And you know what's going to happen next, and you're moving towards it. You're telling your team what's going to happen next, and you're in the right spot. Like, position on the map as support is so fucking important. And reading the flow of the game and breaking other people's flow, that is not Keith's strength. Like, why are you putting a young player like in a role that he can't succeed at and expecting him to succeed, and like letting him get shit on for by the rest of the league? Like, I don't want to jump on this train of like, Keith is bad, let's shit on Keith. It's, why is he in this spot? Like, what is going on?
Golden Guardians management is bad, let's shit on Golden Guardians management.
Yeah, I think that's where the blame should go, not to Keith. Is Keith a terrible support? Yes, but also like when you have a young person make a bad decision that's kind of led on by the adult, like you blame the adult, right?
Well, I mean, it's just like for anyone, bro. Like if you fucking like. Well, when Loco was trying to find a career after Golden Guardians, right? Like if he was trying to find a career and somebody was like, "Hey, you want the support spot?" and it's like, "Well, I'm in Plat 3 right now." It's like, "Well, we'll fucking pay you like $500K a year." It's like, "Yeah, you're gonna fucking take that shit."
Well, why does that sound familiar?
I'm just saying, like that's just how the situation works.
Yeah, I mean, Keith got an LCS spot waved in front of him. He can't say no. He should say no, but he can't say no.
No, you shouldn't say no. I don't think he should say no either.
I think he should have, because overall this is going to destroy his career.
His career was already destroyed. Like
he was already like he was slowly building it up.
Kind of. I mean, it was like, oh, he's not a bad academy player. That's how people like viewed him. Like, yeah, but I never want to see him in the LCS again. Like that was the general perception. Like there was no team that could have picked up Keith as an AD carry where the team's fans would not have just shot on them for it.
Definitely not. But like he's making progress on being an LCS level 80 carry again. He's not an LCS level support. Now he's going to have to fight against the stigma of, oh, you're the team that's giving Keith a third chance of going back to 80 carry and playing again. Like he's going backward in his career by starting as a support for Golden Guardians.
Yeah, and you know, I think if you are one of those players that has that many chances, you have to be a Dardoch caliber player. And if he's restarting as a support and your first 4 games are 061, 073, 051, 147, this looks like me playing solo queue. Like it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good, and it's a big stigma to get over. So yes, I it's a funny tweet and want to cover it. And also, Rusty defends himself as well as, like, you know, a coach. He's like, hey, I don't know the guy. He's a great guy. Seems like a great guy, but just based off his stats, like, he's inching hard.
He's a nice guy.
He is a nice guy.
Is this the first nice guy of the year?
Yeah, he's just a nice guy.
And it's of course coming from the Golden Guardian support position, previously held by the consummate nice guy, the good boy Ole.
That's how you know that somebody has no redeeming qualities, is they just will like say, like, he doesn't know if he seems like a nice guy. He doesn't know Keith at all. Like, why would he even say that?
I'm sure
like,
he's a nice guy. Like,
yeah, it's like, oh, I'm sure okay. Well, we'll take your word for it. It's like, you don't know him at all, so he could just be an asshole too. Like,
if your friend is like introducing you to a girl and he's like, oh, she's really nice.
She's got a great personality.
Yeah, you're like, can she fit on a single man boat? If me and her were to go on a date in New York and then we sat on that boat, would that boat sink? Like, I want that question answered.
Jesus Christ, come on, Loco. Looks aren't everything.
Of course not.
Oh,
But I don't see you liking. I don't see you liking nice girl photos.
True. I mean, to be honest, nice girls like the ones that you're talking about don't post photos. So,
No.
Yeah.
They do. It just gets buried because people don't like them or people don't retweet them.
Can Keith turn this around?
Big girls need love too.
If Golden Guardians give him till like week 6 to turn this around.
No, he's not fit for a support role. He doesn't have the mindset for a support role. He doesn't have the fucking game knowledge for a support role. Like, no, this is not fucking happening. Stop trying to make Keith happen. Keith is not happening.
Keith is someone you need to micro, and you don't want your support to be microing other people. Like, you're the one. Like, Keith succeeds on a team when it's like, Keith, go top lane. All right, like, fucking, this is what I want you to do. Like, be careful of this. You are you mentally prepared for what's about to happen? Okay, good. Now pop off. Right, like, that's what you want to set up with Keith. You don't want Keith to be like the guy that's like, all right, let's fucking make the strategical decision for the team in this LCS game. No, that's just doomed.
Daniel, stop trying to make Keith happen. It is not happening.
I was just making sure we're covering our bases. Is there a
what the hell was that?
It's a Mean Girl reference.
Is there,
Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen.
Oh man, we're actually quoting Mean Girls. Loco's 27. Oh no.
Oh no. Happy birthday, Loco. Loco's birthday on Friday. Make sure to DM him for the address to the party. It'll be lots of fun.
Okay, let's move on.
Wait,
I want to like just like revel
just
in the cringe moment.
Now.
Yeah, I just want to like sit in the cringe.
You do that. Like,
I just want to sit in the cringe for a moment and just be like, yeah, we got to just all remember on this episode of Facecheck that Loco did that.
Whenever
are we here?
Whenever you and Daniel say stupid shit, I'm like, okay, next topic. Or I try to help you guys. You're just like, sit in the cringe, feel the shame. Like,
look, Loco, I don't care what dumb shit I say.
Look at the fucking shit you did. Look at the shit. Fucking smell it. Fucking look at it. Fucking step in it. I'm like, can we fucking move on? Like, I shut on the floor. My bad.
Because when I shit on the floor, it's like excusable. It's like a couple drops. Like, you take like huge diarrhea shits that everyone has to fucking look at together. Right? There's different qualities of cringe. Right? I don't cringe to that level over here.
It feels very you bring it upon yourself. Like it comes out of nowhere, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like you have to know when you're about to make a Mean Girls reference, and you're like, oh, like you have to know that it's gonna.
Everyone watches Mean Girls. What's
I mean, everyone's watched Mean Girls at some point, probably, but it's like 17 years old, and then also it's not supposed to come out of you, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
Why is that the reference?
Cult classic.
It could have been anything.
Cult classic. I love watching Mean Girls.
Shit. Is there a starting support on Golden Guardians? And how is this going to affect the rest of the team?
Bro, just play 4v5. You'll have a better chance to win, I swear to God.
No.
Academy support.
At least FBI will have more experience in that situation.
You have money. You're going to make an academy. You're going to make an LCS team very happy by buying out their academy support. It's going to happen to someone.
Not the answer either?
No, I mean, who he's better at. Like, I would try it. That would be the first thing I would try if I was Golden Guardians. First thing I would do is like, all right, let's see what he looks like. And then if he shat the bed too, it's like, all right, how much do you want for fucking JJ, bro? You're going to make me pay for JJ? All right, I'll pay you fucking 200K. You happy with that?
Who is like a substitute teacher? Like when your teacher has like a emergency, like you get a substitute teacher. But when your teacher, when your teacher slept with a student, like you get a substitute teacher, but that substitute teacher can't be there forever, right? You have to get a full-time teacher. So they have to get a full-time teacher somewhere.
Big is free. Ole moved to Dignitas. One more. There was one more suggestion that I thought was like interesting. But either way, those are some options. And the worry here.
Diamond. Someone in chat said Diamond. Actually, that's the perfect one. And C9 loves selling players.
Yeah, but that's going to be an expensive one. And if you're fucking Golden Guardians and you don't have fucking money, I don't know if you can get Diamond.
They have infinite money. They're Golden Guardians. This is a fucking drop to them. They have infinite money. There's teams with infinite money. Golden Guardians is one of them.
Okay, sure. Loco.
We'll
They are definitely, if you talk about like richest teams or like in terms of budget, or in terms of potential budget, Golden Guardians is definitely in the terms of infinite money realm in esports.
I mean, I just haven't seen it from them. Like, they've never actually paid for a fucking roster. Like, they paid Froggen some, but like, I've never seen them actually ball out on a roster. Yeah. Like 100 Thieves at least tried to. They're like, bang, someday there's our roster. Like, I've never seen that from them.
Well, very much like what we opened the show with, where things were verbalized. You know, it's fluid until anything's signed, Loco. So as much as, an organization might say, we're going to make this our championship roster next year and spend the big money, until they do that, I'm not going to believe them. So I think that's the case here for Golden Guardians. My worry here, and the reason why I keep harping on this, is because we already have identified that Closer is good, right? And he's smurfing.
He's really good. He looks like him and Blabber look like the two best junglers in the LCS right now.
Yeah. You're kind of wasting away that talent. You're also not figuring out, is FBI good or not, because you're pairing him with someone that...
Yeah, but you probably got Closer pretty cheap, and you can probably hold on to Closer. It's like, okay, we lucked out. We got one player that's good. We got Hunter, that's another good player. Like, Golden Glue looks serviceable. He doesn't look bad. Fix the fucking bot lane, you might have like a team that can get playoffs. That's how I see it.
Thing about Closer that's like really smurf from Golden Guardians, not was he only like a really, really good pickup. They wrestled him away from a LEC team. There was an LEC team that was in the running for Closer. They really wanted Closer, and they were able to pull away Closer from LEC and like get them for Golden Guardians.
Interesting. Well,
that motherfucker must be getting paid then. If you're just giving up an LEC spot to play in LCS on a 10th place team, you better get some money.
You don't have to get paid that much. You just have to get paid more than an LEC team, right? Like a little bit. Like it's not the LEC team with like offering him so much.
Well, no. But that's what I'm saying is like most players would like if the numbers anywhere close, they'll just play an LEC just to be an LEC.
TL Closer 2021. Actually, summer 2020.
Honestly, I feel like a player like Closer would be really good for a team like TL. Yeah, I feel like he would work really well in that environment. Proactive, like that's what TL wants. That's when TL started moving away from McSmithy. I feel like that's what they decided. They're like, all right, serviceable jungler that's going to be like reliable, but never really like
jungle 2v2 was a huge requirement.
Yeah, and then McSmithy is just generally a reactive player where they just want more proactivity. That's where you get a player like Closer, a player like Blabber, somebody who like wants to fucking get out there and murder someone.
All right. So just we went down the hole there for tweet of the week, spent some time on the tweet, and obviously how it impacts the rest of Golden Guardians and their future. That's all I had. Guys, was there anything else you wanted to hit on before we close things up?
I think I'm good. I was happy with this episode.
Was there nothing else? Let me see.
No, that was it. I went through all my assets. Yeah. Oh, wow. I guess the thing that we didn't talk about is the new patch. It'll be coming out 10.3. Nerfs to the Soraka top thing. Senna no longer an 80 carry. Aphelios, I think, got knocked down just a little bit as well.
Damn, can you... I'll try to do this quickly, but C9 players have actually been going off with their tweets. We should have actually included a lot more.
I was thinking about the Licorice one for tweet of the week.
I can find that.
I like the Licorice one.
Yeah, dude. Licorice, Zven,
Licorice is for tweet of the week.
They're all just like fucking killing it here. I'll link it to you in the chat.
Yeah, that's why I'm fucking getting Niski for the crackdown. Is like I need some EU players, some EU blood talking shit. from
Yeah,
NA.
Nifty and Zven have both, like all three have just been killing it. They've been so fucking good.
All right, I haven't seen this one yet, so I'll read it. Who put this shot with this voiceover? We've had quite a few failures in the last couple of years, and it's covering Zven. What the heck, dude? by the way.
Where's the French tweet? That's the one I wanted for tweet of the week.
Okay.
Did he delete that one?
No. I'm sure he didn't delete. Also,
it's a real 10K likes. It's a real nerf for the French team that you're not supposed to surrender on stage. I linked
the second one.
It's a real nerf for the French team that you're not supposed to surrender on stage.
True.
We need more tweets like this, and we need LCS to be more like this. That's why LEC is so fun to watch. Like, I don't watch all the games, but I keep up with the Twitter.
I like how this is the reverse. This is literally the reverse narrative. This is what people were saying in season 5, season 4. They were like, "This is why no one watches LEC. It's just so fucking boring." Like, this time is EU LCS, but they're like, "Yeah, just like these players don't have personalities. That's why everyone watches NA." And then all the NA players that had personalities quit and became streamers, and then NA has no personalities left. Unlucky.
Yep.
You try to be a personality in LCS. You shit talk my team. Well, you aren't 18-0. You're gonna get shit on at Worlds. Why the fuck do you open your mouth?
You're still showing the chat and everything.
My bad. Yeah. There we go.
It's like fans actively like push people that were entertaining in LCS to shut up and just fucking play.
Yeah, because they're like, "Oh, you lost one time? That's what you get, motherfucker." It's like, dude, what do you want, man?
Reddit and Twitter is like, everyone just love each other. Okay, we loved each other, and now we're not saying anything. Now you're calling us boring and not watching our games and not giving us views on our content. You got exactly what you fucking wanted. Like, advice, like, if you're fucking listening to Reddit and Twitter, you're just going to be a very vanilla, very bland, like, you're going to be, like, you're not going to be yourself. And ultimately, people will not watch your content. Ultimately, people will not care about your team. Ultimately, people will not care about you. Just fucking be yourself. Like, I don't care how it is, but that's the only way you're gonna fucking.
Yeah, I've been out here flaming for 4 years. I got my first positive Reddit thread today, dude. It'll always happen, boys. It'll come full circle eventually.
And if you fake being someone you're not, then like you can maybe somewhat succeed. But at the end of the day, you look in the mirror and you're night blue, and you're like, "Holy fuck, who have I become?"
What? When did we just listen to fucking Loco Doco's TED Talk? And why did you just shit on night blue?
What happened to night blue? Jeez, what did he do to you, man?
I'm just saying.
Nah, I'm just kidding. Fuck that. I'm down. I'll shit on
there we go.
I'll shit on him with you. I don't need a reason. I'll just shit on that kid anytime I get a chance.
All right. I think that's good. We'll go over 10.3, the changes. We'll come back with Week 3's LCS action next week and any of the spicy stuff. Of course, if you see any tweets or find anything like that, make sure to tag myself, Loco, or Dom. But probably me, because I'm the only one that's probably going to read it. Make sure you follow me as well, because you follow these two guys anyways. Any last words before we close it off?
Yeah, tag Daniel, because Dom definitely will not pull up the tweet. Dom never does any of that work for the show. Dom carries the show in terms of content, but Dom doesn't carry the show in terms of work. So
hell yeah, no, that's how it fucking works. You guys will give me topics, and then I'm going to go off on the topics. That's a symbiotic relationship right there. That's what I call it.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you guys next week for another episode of Facecheck.
All right, peace.